Hello everyone, if you're new to my channel, consider liking and subscribing. It will make me feel wonderful if you do that. Thanks. By the way, I also have another Naruto and Luffy fanfiction channel. If you are interested, link is in the description.
The Daily Adventures of the Straw Hats by Axknikai. Adventures are not only made of fights against the emperors or the world government, they are also composed of the small adventures that make their daily life. Join the Straw Hats through their trainings, investigations, romance, and much more. Luffy x Nami. Member list. Taz Peterson Yonko. Leilani Morris, Warlord. Garrick Russell, Warlord. Black Money Young Leon, Warlord. KSG PL4YZ, Warlord. Adios.
Haki Training Part 1. Beginning of the training. Did we manage to successfully get away? I guess so. Don't let your guard down though. He could emerge from the sky, the ground, or any unexpected place, and that would be the end of us. Aw damn it. Why do we have to go through this? I want to pummel his stupid face right now. If we could do that, we wouldn't need to go through this hell. Nami. Not that knowing the reason makes it easier. Nami and Usopp were crouched between some bushes and under a giant tree, hiding and being on high alert from a high threat. Although their frequent yelling and complaining against the idiotic threat defeated their original purpose of being discreet. Well, no use complaining about that now, said Nami after letting out an exasperated sigh. Did you set up all the traps, Usopp? I am currently placing them while checking my available resources. I'll need you to humidify the area just after so that I can prepare my plans. Roger, Chief Usopp, said Nami jokingly but without any mockery in her tone. Zeus, can you manage the shape of the cloud I am about to make so that it doesn't stand out too much? Yes, Nami, leave it to me. After saying that, Nami produced a big cloud above them that took on the form of Zeus that made sure it covered the whole area without going above the tree they were under. I'm all set now, you can start the rain. Usopp got up while clapping his hands to remove the excessive dirt that he got while planting his grains. Hey, let's move farther away first, I don't want to be all wet for no reason. Usopp agreed while the pair moved farther. After walking a few meters, Nami sent some cool balls in the clouds she had formed earlier with the help of Zeus and made it rain on the area they were just before. To any person not familiar with the Straw Hats, this scene could only be described as magic. Alright, it's been a few minutes, this should be enough. Be careful on the way back not to activate the traps. Yes, I saw where you placed them, it won't be a problem. You can just tell me about their type and range, lad. Crack. The pair was suddenly alarmed by what sounded like a branch breaking and grabbed their weapons. They were breathing heavily while not making a sound, in an attempt to remain undiscovered while seeing who or what the origin of that sound. They heard footsteps getting closer and both turned to the direction of the noise. Oh Nami, Usopp, I did think it was you, but I was not sure because of the smell of the wet grass. Oh, it's just you, Chopper, said Usopp while relaxing his body at the false alarm. Are you on your own? No, before meeting you, I ran into Carrot, began Chopper while turning around, and she disappeared yet again. Looking at the dumbfounded reindeer, his two companions in the coward trio immediately understood that the reindeer must have had difficulties keeping an eye on the fickle mink, who must have treated this as a game. They put a hand on his head as a sign of consolation. Don't blame yourself too much now, Chopper, consoled Nami while closing her eyes in understanding. She should be fine on her own. You can follow us in our hiding spot if you want. Agreeing, Chopper followed the two of them in their spot behind the bushes and under the tree. Be careful, signaled Usopp while checking where Chopper was walking. I put some traps here and then so don't walk on them. Yeah, I could deduce from the smell of wet grass and plants. But will traps actually be effective? It seems that with his observation Haki he will be able to predict and escape the traps. Well, this is better than nothing, but I can easily see this idiot destroying all the traps while laughing like a goof. Well, now that you are here, Chopper, let's strategize again, taking you into account, began Usopp while catching their attention. I think that with a brawler like you on our side. Hey Chopper bro. I found him. Alarmed by the female voice, the three got up to see Carrot running toward them with a big smile on her face. Oh Nami, Usopp, you are here too. Let me do a Garchu. Before they could even react, they saw that Carrot was not alone. Behind her happy self was destruction and chaos itself. Trees and rocks were mercilessly destroyed as the rampage advanced and came closer to them. Wait, don't tell me that behind her is, began Usopp while observing the carnage behind her. Behind her was a certain rubbery captain. However, Monkey D. Luffy was in a very peculiar form right now, as he was all white, had a cloud behind his back and laughed in a very distinctive rhythm. He was running behind Carrot, or more accurately jumped around behind Carrot while laughing and stomping everything in front of him. What was peculiar was that the trees and the ground around him became distorted as if they were made of rubber, but it was ridiculous to the point where the idiot could actually bend the trees and use it like a catapult to jump around. I found Luffy on the way here, so I brought him here, shouted Carrot while still running toward them. Giahahaha. I found you guys, Luffy smirked at them while laughing like a fool. He also seemed to have picked up some trees and giant rocks and launched it towards them like a throwing game at a festival. Hee. Why did you bring him here? Do you even understand the situation? No, don't come Heere. The trio ran for their lives, exiting their hiding spot while Carrot quickly caught up with them, laughing. This is so fun, Garchu. Okay, shut up, you enjoying danger monster. While catching up with them, the threat stepped on their abandoned hiding spot where his right foot sank deeper than his left due to the humidity of the ground, resulting in a slight loss of balance. This caused Usopp and Nami to slightly look behind and to shout in joy while still running. They could see a dozen of giant plants hatching and attacking the white warrior. Yes, take that. How are my traps, you idiot captain? Feel the power of cleverness and cowardice, added Nami while sticking her tongue at the Straw Hat Man. Hey guys, what, Chopper? Let us savor our moment of glory. He's making vines out of them. What? This caused the four of them to temporarily stop and turn around to see a vision of horror unfolding in front of their eyes. Their captain, Straw Hat Luffy, freshly named Emperor of the Sea after defeating the Beast Pirates and Kaido, and who for some reason could become white and all cartoonish, was bending the carnivorous plants and attached them to the trees as he jumped to help him travel in the air. Nami could only scratch her head in total disbelief and incomprehension. You've got to be kidding me. Being beaten around is one thing, but do we have to be beaten by a goof like that? Luffy then used the vines like a lasso and launched it towards the Quatuor, who could not escape the rope that stretched and retracted instantly like a magical cord. She, I caught you guys, now let's play around. What did Dewo to deserve this? Indeed, what happened to put the Straw Hats in this situation? You're not leaving with us? Come on, be a pirate, Yamato. You can't do that, Yamato-chan. I can't live one more day without you around. In the Wano country that was in full festivities after the recent defeat of the Emperors Kaido and Big Mom by the hands of the ninja pirate Mink Samurai Alliance, Yamato had just come back to Luffy, Zoro, Sanji and Jinbei, reporting to them the attack that just unfolded by the Admiral Ryugoku. And after much thinking, she decided to stay in Wano country instead of setting sails with the Straw Hats, much to Luffy and Sanji's displeasure, who had grown rather close to their new friend. Yamato looked at them with an apologetic smile, regretting in one part of herself her decision, but touched that they showed such affection toward her. You probably sensed it yourself, but that forest guy was only driven off thanks to that immense burst of Haki. Kaido may be gone has only opened up the floodgates for dangerous guys like that to pour into the country. Can't abandon everyone now, can I? Said Yamato while smiling and winking at them. GNNNN, besides, I doubt either of us would enjoy our adventures if we were always worrying about Wano. I know, but Luffy seemed unable to respond as he understood the sound logic put forward by Yamato, but he also knew her desire to travel across the seas. Moreover, he truly wanted to add her to her crew. Luffy looked toward the festival still taking place from the cliff they were on. The red lights brought on by the lanterns illuminated the whole capital and probably the whole country, only losing in brightness to the smiles of the people enjoying the festival and eating and laughing as much as they wanted. It was the first time in 20 years that they were able to live like humans again, and unbeknownst to them this freedom could have been taken away this very night even with Kaido gone. If you stay in the land of Wano, we won't have to worry. Luffy then looked toward her with his usual smile. Alright then, we'll leave Momo and the others to you. Count on me, said Yamato with relief that Luffy accepted her decision. Then Yamato started jumping in place while smiling similarly to a joyful tantrum. But man, I really want to be one of you, a real crewmate, said Yamato, imagining how fun life as a Straw Hat pirate could be. But Zoro interrupted her in a gentle way, not to stop their conversation but to warn her. But Yamato, be careful, Momo is very prideful. Be sure not to hurt him. I know, I'll find another way to stay, hey Straw Hat. A voice coming from above made the five of them turn their head toward the sky. Marco, Luffy called out to the ex-first commander of the whiteboard crew and a close friend to his late brother Ace, who was flying above them. He seemed to have come to see them, but he didn't land and kept flying above them. There's a ship that will be giving me a lift nearby, so I'm leaving first, Yoi. I see, you're already going. Luffy looked at the man in the sky while smiling. He had not met him a lot of times, but he was someone he felt infinitely indebted to. You saved me during the Paramount War, right? I never got to thank you. Everyone was working to save you at that time, began Marco while closing his eyes with a soft smile, reminiscing the events. Makes you wonder why, doesn't it, Jinbei? Well, that was a long time ago. I don't remember, laughed Jinbei, deciding that even obvious things were sometimes best not spoken. Marco, who thought the same thing as his friend, chuckled softly before turning to Luffy. I'm sure Ace would be proud of how far you've come, Yoi. Luffy looked dumbfounded for a second at the mention of his late brother, but soon gave his everlasting trademark big smile. She, you think so? In that instant, Marco saw the image of a certain fire user paralleling to the smile of the Straw Hat pirate. He smiled, knowing that protecting and supporting the man in front of him was the right decision. That his companion will has been inherited. Luffy, the times belong to you youngsters now, stay strong. Yeah, see you around. The Phoenix Man then flew towards the ocean, satisfied to be able to help Luffy. Your brother is becoming a great pirate, Ace. Old man, he might be the one you were waiting for all these years. Really, I am grateful to him, said Luffy while gazing upon the bird flying toward the horizon. Without him and everyone else we would not have been able to get there. That's the first commander of Whitebeard for you, added Sanji while smoking. When I arrived to the live floor in Onigashima, he was taking on both king and queen while healing everyone on the floor, enemies and allies included. He really saved us when the battle was going in their favor. Yeah, in contrast to someone who could barely handle king and queen together. What was that, Mosshead? I would like to see you try. And whose sorry ass do you think I was carrying during that fight? Mr. on the verge of death? Aw, you want a piece of me, love cook? Ignoring the bickering of the two rivals, Jinbei continued the conversation. Marco seemed to have taken on a similar role to Yamato. It seems he's been living at Whitebeard's old man childhood island, protecting it from the Marines. I see, Whitebeard seemed to have been an incredible man if amazing people like Ace and Marco followed him. And yet, even them were not strong enough to stand up to Blackbeard. Luffy's sudden interruption surprised the four people present, even interrupting the fight between Zoro and Sanji. Starting now, I am an emperor. Yamato is staying to protect the land of Wano, but people even more dangerous than that forest guy will be coming after us. Their captain was making an obvious statement, but they all listened to him to see what his point was. While caring for the crew, it was not always that Luffy took the initiative to launch such a subject, especially during the festivities of an aftermath. We all trained for 2 years and got even stronger while traveling in the new world. We need to be prepared for what's awaiting. In order to reach our dreams and in order to protect everyone, we must become even stronger. Stronger than anyone else. Hey, that goes without saying, said Zoro with a smirk. You won't be able to reach the highest place without me, huh? Added Sanji while smiling and lighting a cigarette. Well said, Luffy, just as I expected from the future Pirate King, said Jinbei, proud of the growth of his friend. Oh, I won't let myself be beaten. I'll become even stronger during my stay here, finished Yamato while trepidating with impatience. I don't know how to train the others. It's not like we have the same fighting style and I am not really or something. A silence took place after the statement. Motivation and feelings were good, but when thinking about the actuals means Luffy and the others drew a blank. A silence that seemed to last several minutes followed. All of them were deep in thoughts, arms crossed and eyes closed. Seeing Luffy tilting his head to the side, they instinctively imitated his movement without noticing that Luffy's head was turning redder by the minute. When steam began to rise from his head, Yamato noticed the abnormality. Whoa, Luffy, was this the gear second that you told me about? What are you talking? Whoa, Luffy, stop thinking, stop thinking. I thought it was strange that he was so quiet all this time. Zoro, then followed by Sanji, tried to shake the captain from his zoned state, fearing he might fry his brain. They seemed to have succeeded as Luffy's head went back to its normal color and his eyes were shaped like spiral to indicate his dizziness. Unbelievable, I never saw someone think so much that their head turned red. I sure followed a surprising captain, ha ha ha. You must really care about your crew, Luffy, but don't fry your brain, ha ha ha, said Yamato while jumping and hugging him by putting her hands around his neck and rubbing her head against his like a little animal while Zoro and Sanji were still shaking him. How about training them so that they can develop their haki? This remark from Jinbei made the group of 4 idiots stop and turn toward him, hearing an interesting idea. It is the most effective way to get stronger in the new world where we will face even greater danger. Those with devil fruits or special weapons or abilities can still develop that, as it will be complementary. And it is the best way to become stronger in a short time. But Jinbei, Luffy interrupted as if he was never stunned. I also thought that would be the best for everyone, but isn't haki hard and long to master? Really told me that I might not even master the basics in 2 years? And incidentally, how long did it take for you to manifest it? Asked Sanji, genuinely interested. I'm not sure, with the island climate changing every weekage, to manifest the 3 types after a few weeks, even if I could not use them all the time, and according to Rayleigh I mastered the basics in a year and a half. That's our captain for you, said Zoro while whistling, impressed by the feat. I had to be beaten up by Mihawk and the baboons for a few months before I began to manifest armament haki. Really, you are an idiot, but you really have great instincts for battle, added Sanji. It was not until a few months of running from these monsters that I started to be able to sense them with the observation haki. But, Jinbei interjected, how long did it take for you two to manifest the other type of haki after that? Now that you mention it, I would say a few days after I unlocked observation haki, I managed to coat my legs with armament color. Same for me, I was able to discern and sense the attacks of the baboons a few days after I managed to coat myself in armament. It was not until a while that Mihawk told me it was observation haki though. So Jinbei, are you saying that unlocking haki, one kind of haki, facilitates the awakening of the other types? Asked Sanji, starting to get where Jinbei was getting to. Exactly. More specifically, when you are faced with great battles or perils, it seems that it is favorable conditions for the development of haki. I think the reasons differ, but it seems to be because Haki manifests from willpower, so once you have the hang on one type, it is easier to use the other type. According to the samurai and also Kaido, one way other than training to develop your Haki is to always seek out battles against strong opponents. O'Reilly said something like that, about Haki truly blooming in the extremes conditions of real battle and facing off against strong opponents. In fact, I became really strong during my fights with Katakuri and Kaido. That's exactly it. Many observations and theories have been made by the great warriors traveling in the New World, but this one seems to be unanimous. Another one seems to be the direct interaction with Haki itself would help in the development. Luffy, Zoro and Yamato seemed to be surprised by the statement made by Jinbei, but as they had some trouble digesting the flow of information, they turned their head to the side and almost shrugged it off. Only Sanji seemed to be able to understand the implication. So what you're saying is that the rest of the crew must be on the verge of awakening or have already awakened their Haki, fighting alongside us and surviving all these opponents and situations in the New World. You're totally right, Sanji. So I think that they are almost there. So I think the most effective way to train right now would be to train them directly ourselves using our own style and Haki. What do you think about that? The other three faces directly lighted up, coming to a point in the conversation where they could be excited. That sounds fun, let's do it. Captain's announcement, Luffy said while rattling his throat, almost seeming nervous. This peculiar attitude piqued the interest of the other members across the dining table, not used to seeing their captain like this. After thinking though, Thurugal, Luffy fumbled and crossed his arms while tilting his head, not used to such formal vocabularies. What is it, Luffy? Spit it out. Nami interrupted while watching him stretch his arms to steal all pieces of meat on the table. Maybe he thought it would help him thinking? Carrot was also present with the crew, spending most of her time with them before departing for Zou, where she will be the new boss. Luffy, you're talking all weird, Carrot stated, observing her the Straw Hat Captain while chewing her salad. After talking with Jinbei, Yamato, Zoro and Sanji, Luffy resumed taking his usual speech pattern again. We decided to hold training sessions to learn and develop all your Hakis. This raised the interest and surprise of all the members, expecting a dumb announcement from their captain. You mean, you're going to train us so that we can develop Haki like you, Luffy? Chopper said, particularly interested to learn some of the powers of the strongest members of this crew. Yeah, that's right, Luffy said while smiling full of confidence. For the upcoming battles we will get into even tougher fights, so this is something that can help all of us, and even without that a good training can do you some good. This is a marvelous idea, Luffy-san, Brook said while standing up to take a sugar to put in his cup of tea. A lot of our enemies will wield different powers, so we should also train ourselves. This is a super idea, Luffy. I'm on board, Frankie replied, striking his usual pose and jumping on the table, something that granted him a kick from the cook. If it allows us to compete with the greatest warriors of the sea, I'm on board, said Usopp, putting his thumbs up. That's an unusual good idea from you, said Nami, looking slightly pleased by the concerns of her captain. But Luffy, Robin interrupted. I agree with you and I don't want to ruin your enthusiasm, but isn't Haki very difficult to learn? Some people spend many years trying to master it but to no avail, and even if you did learn it quickly, it doesn't mean the rest of us can. Robin was expecting Luffy to look surprised, but he just smiled at her confidently, surprising her a little. She turned her head toward Jinbei looking for some answers. Don't worry about that, Robin, Jinbei interjected. Luffy unexpectedly already thought of that. The crew seemed impressed by all the consideration that their captain made, but quickly understood as he could be extremely mature when it came to their safety. Even the most powerful crews don't have members who are all masters of Haki. However, it is definitely a great asset, especially in the New World. You went through all these life-or-death situations and survive it, and it is the fastest way to unlock and develop Haki in the New World. I see, the long dark-haired woman said while thinking. So you're telling us that our battles may have unveiled our Haki or brought us closer to it, and by having Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Yamato and you who mastered the two kinds of Haki teaching it to us, we might be able to develop it rather quickly, Robin asked while explaining what she deduced, seemingly very interested. That's right, you summarized it perfectly, Jinbei replied. Yamato and I actually learned Haki because of these battles and the influence of our environment before learning it, in contrast to Luffy, Zoro and Sanji. Even them could learn it more properly because they were taught by Haki users, or they fought with Haki users. And even if you don't master it, just learning how to use or at least training in it could be the most beneficial training when we don't know how much time we have before the upcoming battles. Don't worry, Robin-chan, Sanji said while rushing to her side and presenting her a cup of tea with one arm under his stomach. If you were worried, would you do me the pleasure of teaching you the art of Haki? I would not mind, Sanji, the dark-haired woman replied with a smile, gently accepting the cup of tea. But I don't know if that is how the others planned their training session. Yes, about that, said Jinbei looking at the sky pensively. I see you put some thoughts into it, but Luffy, would you mind explaining something else to me? Sure, what's on your mind, Nami? Why the hell are we tied up against a giant rock? This is supposed to be training, not bullying. I don't want to die, yelled Usopp from the top of his lungs while crying at the same time with Chopper. The Straw Hats were all present in a secluded area within the forest with the addition of Yamato and Carrot, who wanted to take part in the training as it seemed fun. The location was actually the same area where they trained for 3 weeks before their raid on Onigashima, as it is secluded from any cities and with a lot of open areas and areas with a lot of trees, making it perfect for training. The only anim was that Usopp, Nami and Chopper, also known as the Coward Trio, were tied up to a rock as large as Kaido or Big Mom. Well, you guys were just about to run off the second we told you that we were going to explain things. Why the hell shouldn't we? Said Nami while giggling in a vain attempt to break free of the ropes. What kind of training requires the gathering of giant beasts and hellish setups? Just behind Luffy were actually beasts like lion, boars, monkeys or tigers whose striking features were their cartoonish morphology as well as being 6 or 7 meters tall. And they were stationed just in front of a hellish landscape. A path full of piercing needles to clear, giant rocks above some trees that were on the verge of falling. A pitfall with magma in it. Where did they even find magma? In short, nowhere a human should want to go near. As one would have guessed, while Robin, Carrot, Frankie and Brook welcomed the idea openly, even if they were a little apprehensive about it knowing the personality of their crewmates with monstrous strength. Nami, Usopp and Chopper were immediately afraid and tried to flee, leading to the current situation. What? This is just normal for training. Don't be a baby. I used to battle way fearsome beasts when I was little and when I trained with Rayleigh, and Grandpa and Rayleigh used to throw me without food in even worse places. I'm starting to understand where your monstrous strength is coming from. My disease of, I can't train with these monsters because I value my life, is kicking in. Let me go. I am the doctor of this ship. I definitely don't recommend this. People aren't made to be thrown into magma. Chopper, who did not care for the conversation, continued shouting for help even if he knows it is of no use. Huh? Don't be silly, Chopper, said Zoro to his fellow companion. The magma is just there to use as a fatigue relief? That does it. This will kill us, shouted Usopp, Nami and Chopper in unison. So Chopper, as the greatest doctor of all, you will definitely heal us, right? Said Robin the archaeologist with a motherly smile. Of course I will. Don't flatter me, that does not make me happy, you idiot, said Chopper with a delighted face not matching his words, making the attempt of the archaeologist for him to forget his fear a success. I am sorry, Nami-san. Usually I would not stand for such treatment, but Robin-chan said that it was for all our sake, so forgive me. I was wondering why you were so quiet about this. You really can't make your mind on your own, can't you? What was that, you mosshead? While the usual duo argued, Jinbei interjected. Luffy, while I don't mind training them, maybe it would be more effective to find ways to expose them directly to Haki in real situations as we are short on time? Yeah, tell him, boss Jinbei. I guess you are right. Aw man. I even prepared all this and borrowed these beasts from Tama. So maybe we can just beat them up, said Zoro while ignoring the insults of Sanji. I guess, that would be fine. Heyy, what the hell, boss Jinbei? We'll never survive going up against these monsters, this is straight bullying. Seeing that the argument would never end between the barbarians and the cowards, Robin decided to step in. As fun as it would be to follow your regimen, I have one proposition that would satisfy everyone and maximize the training. Tell us more then, what do you have in mind? Replied Jinbei. All the members' attention were turned to the archaeologist, who grasped their attention. I am not a Haki user like yourselves, however from what I gathered during my 2 years at the Revolutionary Army and from what Sabo and the others told me, affinity plays a great part in developing it. So they each tested different trainings with different people to see what suited them more. Oh, then are you suggesting that each of us prepare a training session and after seeing the results we group the trainees and trainers according to their affinity? That's the gist of it, yes. I thought we could all duke it out, but this also seems fun. I'm in, replied happily the Straw Hat captain. What a wonderful idea, Robin-chan. I'm sure that I will be grouped with you, Nami-san, Carrot-chan and Yamato-chan. That would leave almost no one for the others, and Yamato is not even on the list of trainees, replied Usopp, seeming to have calmed down. Well, I guess this is a good alternative to being beat up, but will it be okay? I mean, we all have pretty unique fight style. For instance, Nami and me aren't really what you would call melee fighter. Don't worry about that, Usopp, Sanji answered while taking a drag of his cigarette. We trust that all of you will be able to incorporate what you can in your fighting style. We will just look for ways for you to learn that and help you train with them. That is why Robin-chan's idea actually works well. For instance, I developed my Haki while fighting against different martial artists that used their hands or legs or even completely different fighting styles. Oh yes. Where did you train, by the way, Sanji-san? You still haven't told us, Brook asked in a curious tone. Don't remind me of that hell, Sanji said while putting his hand in front of his mouth prepared to puke. Ah, Brook, why did you do that? He was finally forgetting his trauma, Chopper said while running towards him with a first aid kit that magically appeared. It seemed like Frankie untied the rope keeping the three of them from moving. So weak, Zoro commented while looking condescendingly on his longtime rival. I hope that the rest of you will not be as weak during the training. You might not survive if you are. Zoro said while looking specifically at Nami, Usopp and Chopper smirking a bit. You shitty swordsman, at least I learned on my own. You are so dumb that the greatest swordman had to rack his head out just to teach you, replied weakly Sanji while coughing on the ground. As if you would have survived this, you shitty cook. Can these guys really train us? Said Chopper while administrating some drug to Sanji. I think you can forget about that, Chopper, said Nami. Look, I'm sure they already forgot about the initial purpose and just want to have fun. Indeed, while Robin, Frankie, Brook, Chopper, Usopp, Nami and Carrot were standing on one side as the trainees, they looked over to their trainers. Sanji and Zoro were still arguing while throwing things at each other. Luffy and Yamato seemed to be playing rock stepping stone on the magma. Jinbei was the only dignified one chilling with the giant beasts that Luffy borrowed from Tama. Yep, we are doomed, said in unison the trio without any strength left to protest. Yosh, it's decided then, let's prepare the training sessions. Haki Training Part 2. Jinbei and Yamato's Training. After the discussion, the 5 trainers discussed among themselves to create the trainings. More than discussing, it was more like a bunch of suggestions that had to be approved by Jinbei because the other 4 kept throwing too dangerous and useless suggestions. The Straw Hats were now in an open area of the forest, away from the dangerous traps and beasts that were sent back to Tama. The area was bathed by the warm sunlight, which managed to make the area quite bright as the trees were less numerous here. No beasts could be spotted, and this peacefulness was supplemented by the abundance of plants and flowers. This area was perfect for training, resting, and it was also close with a full view on the Thousand Sunny. This is where the most powerful Straw Hats minus Jinbei were seen saw at a table, probably constructed by their cyborg given the quality of the wood table as well as the eccentric blue painting, eating, drinking and observing the training Jinbei had in store for the others. They all agreed to let Jinbei take care of the first part of the test, being the most experienced Haki user among them and probably the most capable to teach something to someone. That was also highly appreciated by the other members who did not want to suffer the harsh training from the other 4 monsters. What was to be seen was a very quiet and calm scenery. The trainees were all sit on the grass, legs crossed and eyes closed in a meditation state. Jinbei was imitating them, and they have stayed in this position for at least half an hour. The little noises from the birds and insects coupled with the warm feeling given by the rays of light indicated that Wano was in its summer season. Occasionally, the students moved a little to avoid having pins and needle in their legs, and discreetly opened one eye to see what the rest of them were doing. One of the secrets to learn Haki is to learn yourself better and to be able to feel every inch of your body, mind and soul. Once you will be able to feel all of that, you will be able to use powers that were unknown to you until now. But that requires dedication, repetition and diligence, Jinbei explained while still meditating. I know that we are in a hurry, but I believe that fundamentals are key. Especially to all of you who have been in very dangerous situations numerous times in the new world. Maybe you just need to master the basics to go to the next level. Jinbei then stood up and looked at them. You can open your eyes and stand up. Even if I don't have any eyes to open to begin with, yo-ho-ho, Brook said softly just so that the others could hear that. Now you will follow my movements. Try to feel the every movements from your body and the slightest sensation offered by the environment. Jinbei explained while turning his back on them and taking a karate stance. Let's begin. 1 2, 1 2, Jinbei said repetitively while giving a rhythm. Man, I am happy that Jinbei's training is conventional, but will we be able to learn Haki this way? Usopp said very softly so that only Nami and Frankie who were next to him could heard. I don't know, but I am relieved to train without risks like that, Nami answered just as softly. I was expecting a super hard training to be honest, but I trust Jinbei, he must know what he's doing. Don't worry Usopp, Jinbei answered without even looking, and thank you for the trust Frankie. I hope I will be able to answer your expectations. What? How did you manage to hear that? Usopp said shocked. Now that is something, said Frankie while still punching the air. How I learned Haki was by clashing against different individuals but also by training like this. This is standard for fishman karate, but I learnt this was also a good method to be more aware of my energy, senses and environment. As Haki is spiritual energy harnessed from one's willpower, this is one way to get the feel of it before developing it. For instance, Chopper, I can tell that a lead just fell in front of you. This is awesome. How do you manage that, Jinbei? Chopper asked, stars in his eyes. This is observation Haki, or at least a form of it. You may have different versions of it, but mostly it is about feeling the living beings and the objects around you. Once you develop that, you will be able to predict the course of the attacks, the number of allies and enemies and everything around you. Next is. Silence fell and all eyes were on the fishman, and more particularly on his hands as he seemed to contract the muscles around them. Both hands were around the waist in the neutral position of the fishman karate art. The air became heavy, full of anticipation of the fishman's next move. While punching through the air with his left hand, a gust of wind was felt even by the students who stood behind him. He then repeated the process with his right hand, creating a wind even stronger that managed to be felt by the strongest Straw Hats who stood far away from him. When Jinbei turned around towards his students, both of his hands were pitch black. This is armament Haki. You must have witnessed it countless times on your allies and your enemies. It acts like an armor that increases your body both defensively and offensively. It is a great asset in battle and also the only way to be able to solidify the tangible body of Devil Fruits users, especially the logia ones who are pretty much invincible without kairoseki or any component that allowed to make them manifest. Jinbei then put down his arms and turned towards the crew. Many people spend years trying to develop and master Haki with great difficulties. A lot of them only scratch the surface of this power or just develop the type they have the more affinity with. While having one's preferences and strong points can be good, abandoning the development of one type is a shame, so you should aim towards the development of both types even unequally. Woo, Jinbei, you are so cool, Usopp and Chopper both said with stars and amazement in their eyes. Indeed, this class and the way you chose to convey it are very interesting, Jinbei, Robin said with a smile, full of interest in this new power that seemed to have a lot of mysteries. Thank you, Jinbei, for making us stronger, Nami said with her thumb up as a sign of approbation and recognition. Jinbei, you are a super teacher, yo-ho-ho-ho, Jinbei-san, I have yet to have seen someone as wise as you in my 90 years of living. Jinbei smiled. To be honest, he was very happy to be useful to his new crew. While he was already familiar with them from the time they spent together in Fishman Island, Whole Cake Island, and after the Battle of Onigashima, he was unsure of whether or not he would fit nicely into the crew or not. Apart from Luffy, he did not know them very well except from the fact that they all their heart were in the right place and that they were all exceptional beings as Luffy picked them himself. To be able to fit and to be of use to such a crew is an honor for. Man, Jinbei is kinda cool and all, but his training is boring. The harsh words spoken by the Straw Hat captain, still eating nonchalantly, reached the ears of everyone and especially the current instructor in question. A gust of wind could be heard, a result of the deadpan silence. The fishman stopped moving his powerful hands. The students, afraid of what the remark from their insensitive captain could have done to Jinbei, tried to analyze the expression on his face. Jinbei, are you alright? Don't mind the... Robin was the first to react. I am, boring and uncool, Jinbei said with a shocked expression that could be the trademark face of any Straw Hat member by now. Jinbei, don't listen to this idiot, he does not know, Nami began before being interrupted by a louder voice over the table. Don't be stupid, Luffy. Meditation and routine is a great part of training. However, knowing Jinbei, I am sure he has something awesome and worthy of someone of his caliber next, Zoro explained while drinking his beer and half observing the curryman like him would know way better than you two shitheads. Let the pros handle their training, Sanji said while dragging a piece of his cigarette, also expecting more flashy things from Jinbei. I have heard from countless members of the Beast Pirates that the Shichibukai were very powerful and experienced beings. Let's trust him, Luffy, he must have something awesome up his sleeve, Yamato said as a final way to convince Luffy. Oh right, let's wait and see then. Sorry Jinbei, go on. Boring and uncool, Jinbei muttered again as if he had just lost his dignity. After the harsh remarks from the monster trio and their new addition, the other members tried to inquire Jinbei's state of mind. They all moved from their exercise spot and went towards the fishman. He seemed to be as shocked and in deep thoughts. They all tried to wave their hands or do some kinds of gesture to make him react. Robin even tried to slap him, but it was no use as he did not even pay attention to them. It was as if everything he just told them about observation Haki was utter crap. A low mumble could be heard from his lips. The fishman, being so deep in thoughts, did not remark that he was thinking aloud. I did not have any other kind of exercise in mind. Maybe I should try to adapt myself, to be as cool and fun as Luffy and the others? But how can I manage that? Suddenly, the fishman seemed to regain his colors and previous composure as a genius idea seemed to have worked its way in his mind. Of course, this was not the only thing in this test training. What kind of straw hat would I be otherwise, haha? Said the fishman, still sweating and smiling nervously. Haki has different forms and levels, as some people are able to imbue armament Haki in their weapon, or have different range and sensitivity of observation Haki. There are also exceptional beings that take these forms of Haki to higher levels. Luffy is a perfect example of that, as he is able to see a bit in the future with his observation Haki, or deal damage from the inside out with his armament Haki. Maybe a demonstration would be better. Fuck. All the Straw Hats had the same thought. Jinbei, maybe we don't need, Usopp began. Luffy, would you mind coming over to demonstrate something for me? All of you can come actually, Jinbei said loudly so that the other four could hear and come. Okay, I don't mind, Luffy said by coming over with the others. Luffy, could you show us your mastery of armament and observation Haki to the others? It should help to motivate them and visualize even better what Haki can do. Oh, finally a bit of fun. Shi, idiot, don't formulate it like, Usopp shouted before being interrupted by a black fist that came towards him at full speed. USOOOOPP. Chopper said after the Haki-imbued punch from Luffy sent him flying in the air, before falling down several seconds later. Oi, Luffy, if you knock them out in one punch, how are we supposed to have fun? Zoro said by unleashing his katanas. Oh, is it our turn already? Sanji said by kicking the ground with his foot as if to prepare himself for a hunt. Yamato-chan, should we do our demonstration together? I just wanted a demonstration, not for you to take, Jinbei said before being interrupted. Forget about Usopp, Chopper, run for your life, Nami said already far away in the forest. Hey Nami, what are you doing? Come back, the fun is just beginning, Luffy said by chasing her, both arms coated in armament and Conqueror's Haki. She was soon followed by the other Straw Hats with the exception of Robin who just stood there unnoticed. Even Frankie and Brook had a scare seeing the pitiful state of the sniper and fled in the forest. Carrot must have followed them while laughing thinking they were playing catch. Finally, a hunt after so long, Nami Swan, Robin Swan, Carrot Swan wait for me. I will teach you how the samurai taught me Haki. Is this how it is to be fun and cool? Jinbei wondered by standing still, watching the others trainers joining the hunt. Yes, his training was totally ruined. Ha 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 ha, that was fun. How can you say that when we are all covered in bruise? Nami shouted to her captain that was still laughing at the state of the students. Did you all really have to launch your strongest attack at us? Chopper said by bandaging Robin who was still smiling although she had bandages covering her left eye and half of her face. Indeed, Usopp, Nami, Chopper, Robin, Carrot, Frankie and Brook were all covered in bruise. Or a few broken bones in Brook's case, after being purchased for what seemed to be hours by the 4 monsters of the crew. Jinbei, still torn between his duty sense and his wish to be considered as cool and fun by the other members, stayed still while watching the massacre. From time to time, apart from the screamings of the Straw Hats, some Gomu Gomu no Elephant Gun, or Santoryu Ringoku Onigiri, could be heard through the forest. Don't blame me, I can't attack Nami-san and Robin-chan, so you had to take some more hits. This was not even our strongest attacks. If we did, you would be in a way worse shape, Zoro said by half looking at the fury of the doctor. I am sorry, I failed as your teacher. I hope that the rest of the test will go better, said Jinbei, still ashamed of the chaos that just unfolded in front of him. Don't worry Jinbei, you were super. You could not predict that these monsters would crash your training session. If everything is fine, can I go on with the rest of the training? Yamato asked by pointing herself, oblivious of the state of mind of the rest of the crew. Huh, we are not done for the day, Carrot asked, beginning to feel tired for the first time of the day. We still have plenty of time. Like the way of the samurai, if you have time then train. She then ran off for a few minutes all excited. The members were rather apprehensive towards their new crewmates. Even if the joining was put on leave, indeed she seemed to get along well with the monster trio and especially Luffy. And she was a monster herself. And like Luffy, she seemed to lack the common sense that people usually have. Yamato came back with 3 giant boulders, each the size of a tree, on her back and threw them in front of the crew. Wait, you don't want us to break these giant rocks, do you? Inquired Usopp, skeptical about the whole thing. No, this will only be for later when you have developed sufficient Haki. Great, so this is still in her plan, but if we do manage to smash these boulders with our bare hands, we will become super strong. Exactly, said Yamato, happy that her training seemed to have piqued the interest of her new crew. Once you master armament Haki, you will be able to do things like that. She suddenly put her club on the ground and took a breath in front of the rocks. Then, her arms turned black the same way Jinbei's did and she smashed the rocks one by one without any difficulties. Splendid, noted Brook, unusually serious. Not only does Yamato-san have monstrous strength, but her very sturdy arms managed to pierce through the rock instead of just smashing it from the outside. Yes, this is the big advantage of armament Haki. Not only does it give you a boost in offensive power, it also gives you a boost in defensive armor as if you coat yourself in armor. As for observation Haki, she then threw 4 small rocks, formed by the smashing of the 3 giant rocks earlier, and threw them at great speed towards Luffy, Zoro, Sanji and Jinbei, who all evaded by slightly shifting away, sensing the attack coming. If you are able to master it, you will be able to sense people, objects and attacks around you like this. Hey Yamato, warn us before you do something like that, said Luffy, a bit surprised because he was eating a piece of meat in one hand. Yamato-chan, this did not hurt me at all. I think a pebble this size would be able to knock a wimp like you though. What did you say, Moss Head? Bring it on, Loveko Osman and the cook began their fight for the 100th time of the day. Yamato joined her hands together in a form of apology. Sorry, but I thought it would be easier to demonstrate things like that. I guess we witnessed this power all around the new world but never realized how awesome it actually was, said Chopper while taking notes in a notebook. Yeah, some enemies like that ulti girl were a pain to attack. Except if we deceived her with some traps or sneaky attacks. Yes, that's the important point for observation Haki. She then took some pebbles and repeated the same action as previously, except for the fact that she threw a lot more rocks and threw them to the group of 4 people. This time, however, the throws did not seem to be particularly accurate as some of them were off targets, but the sheer number of them meant that some rocks were bound to touch their target. And surprisingly, compared to before, while Luffy and Jinbei dodged the pebbles, Zoro and Sanji reacted too late, and while they evaded and blocked some of them, one managed to hit Zoro on the leg and Sanji on the stomach. Woo, incredible, you hit them. Yes, if you do not have a calm mind you won't be able to use observation haki efficiently. Luffy and Jinbei managed to react just fine, but Zoro and Sanji, who were busy fighting, did not notice the rocks, especially as they were not particularly aimed at them. Look at what you did, Love Cook, huh? Don't blame me because your legs are weak, moss head. Anyway, the training I have in mind is something that will train both your haki and physical abilities. Jinbei helped me think of this, so it should be great work. If Jinbei helped you, I have no doubt this will be effective, said Robin while smiling. Yamato then picked up a lot of the pebbles, formed a heap and stood next to it. The principle is simple enough. You will all stand a few meters in front of me and I will throw these rocks at you. You can either evade them or try to destroy the rocks incoming. Jinbei then approached the group and added, evading and reading the trajectory will enable you to develop your observation haki and reflexes in general. Trying to smash or receiving the attack of the rocks will train your body and armament haki. I think this is a perfect implementation of the introduction I gave earlier. As expected of Jinbei, not only did he think about his own training but also how it would complement the other ones. Let's get right to it. A few minutes had passed and the training was going pretty well. Yamato was actually holding back pretty nicely and threw rocks at decent speed towards the Straw Hat members. While all could not be evaded or smashed, the impact was certainly painful as it was thrown by someone with unbelievable strength. It was still tolerable. That's it, you are doing great. A few styles and differences have already began to emerge. While people with normal physical abilities and long-distance fight style like Nami, Usopp or Robin tried to evade the rocks, melee fighters with great physical prowess like Frankie, Brook, Chopper and Carrot tried to evade and smash rocks at the same time. Some were better at this exercise. For instance, Carrot, who already had great physical prowess coupled with animal reflexes, had a nice balance between determining which rocks to smash or evade and if she had to jump or simply shift her body to evade. On the other hand, people like Frankie tried to smash all the incoming rocks with his arms, and if he could not make it in time to smash it, he would try to evade it at the last second. This is surprisingly adequate, commented Nami while evading a few rocks. I thought she would be more of a musclehead, but I can keep up with this. Yeah, I think that this training might work, replied Usopp. Keep them coming, said Carrot while smashing and dodging some rocks in midair. Oh, I see that you are already used to this speed, then I'll speed up even more. And then suddenly a rock flying just next to Brook's head and crash into a tree behind and obliterating it. Huh? The whole group except for Carrot, even Robin, suddenly felt a shiver down their spine. Wait, if I get hit by that I'll die, even if I am already dead, yo-ho-ho-ho. This is no time to be joking, said Chopper. If she burns a hole through your body I won't be able to heal you. Let's go, and suddenly the pace sped up as well as the impacts. Some loud crash could be heard either due to the screams of the ones being hit or because of the trees crashing down one by one. Let's get even wilder. Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Jinbei, come and help me throw these rocks. What? The quatuor was chilling on the table, which now had sandwiches as well as an umbrella to protect them from the sun. Probably constructed by the cyborg given the quality of the product. What? Momoke, let me just finish my sandwich. No, and thus another training session turned into another chaos. I thought I was going to die, said a melted and bruised Usopp on the ground. At least the training was worthwhile even if the latter part could have been avoided, said Robin looking unusually exhausted. Listen Yamato, you have monstrous strength yourself, but if you drag these three in the mix or try to emulate them things will definitely go wrong, said Usopp. Is that so? I apologize, I guess I overdid it a little, said Yamato with an embarrassed smile. I might not dislike training now, but when Kaido would always force me to train even if I did not want to, and if I refused he would just chain me up until I agreed to fight. So I guess what is considered hard for me is a little different than other people, Yamato said by smiling, a little ashamed to reveal this part of her past. Silence fell and the air was filled with tension. All the members felt heartbroken for Yamato. Nobody dared to say anything. Some tears were even falling down of Carrot's and Chopper's eyes, not accustomed to hear something that sad. Some people like Sanji or Robin could relate to her as they had also been chased and forced to fight or use their powers even if they did not want to. After saying that, what was supposed to be a depressing mood was broken by Carrot. Now, we can't let you down, can we? We're gonna train so that nobody ever force you to do that again, Carrot said by jumping, suddenly all fired up. Now that it came to that, we're just going to have to survive this, aren't we? Nami sighed by standing up once again. Be it Luffy or anybody else, bring it on. Let's become the strongest to keep Yamato safe. Usopp, Chopper, Frankie and Brook all said in unison. Sorry, did I say something wrong? I'm very happy you feel that way, but think about yourself first, Yamato suddenly asked, her face blushing. Don't worry about it, it just means that you are now a part of this crew, so get used that this is simply the norm as this crew. Robin said to Yamato by smiling and tap on her shoulder by making an arm appear with her power. Get used to what? Replied Yamato, a bit confused. To have people who would defy the world for you and keep you safe. Haki Training Part 3, Sanji's Training. So next, will be my training, Ordeal of Love for the Lovely Ladies of the Straw Hats Pirates, Sanji said by smirking, proud of the name of his training. So are we even needed for this? Usopp asked, dumbfounded, with a small drop dripping on the back of his head. Oi, let's forget about this idiot and get on with my training, Zoro said, already irritated by the behavior of the cook. Moss head, if we go on your training, we would not even get to the location point of the training. While the rest of the crew burst out laughing at the clever remark from Sanji, Nami calmed herself and interrupted the crew to have more explanation. Could you maybe elaborate a little, Sanji-kun? Nami asked him, a little unsure of what the cook had in store. Of course, Nami Swan. I will try to reproduce some conditions that I had during my 2 years training. It will be a hide-and-seek training of sort, and you will all have to run as preys while I will be the hunter chasing you down. The location is the entire forest. The goal will be not to let me catch you. You have 4 ways of winning this. Either knock me out, restrain me, make me give up, or wait until the 1 hour time limit runs out. Of course, you are free to attack me. If I manage to restrain you, make you give up, or knock you out, it's my win. You may all cooperate or act independently, this is your choice. You can all use all kinds of weapons or traps, I don't care. I will let you go into the forest in advance for 10 minutes before going after you, is that clear? But Sanji, Robin interrupted, recalling the events of Wano. You are still not able to fight against women, don't you? Don't worry, Robin-chan, said Sanji, unusually serious with a smile. Even a pathetic man like me can learn from his mistakes. There are other ways to win even if I don't hit you or put you in danger. And I think that you are intelligent enough to understand the purpose of this training.
Robin smiled at the cook. She understood what the cook meant. The option to give up was essentially a sportsmanship rule. In all likelihood, a single serious strike from Sanji would knock out Nami and Robin both. All Sanji had to do was recreate a situation where an eventual hit could not be discussed. Even if it would not work on an enemy, she was happy that Sanji trusted her enough to call for her help, or that he was willing to partake in training with Nami and her.
The real question was Carrot. She was not someone that Sanji could knock out with one hit that easily, so he must have had some other plans for her. But for the rest of you bastards, I will not hold back, so don't stand in my way. So again, is there any point in us being here? Usopp asked, still dumbfounded by the antics of the cook. The purpose of this training is to replicate real situations, explained Jinbei. As I said before, Haki blooms in difficult battles or situations. This training gives the possibility of battle training, strategy, anticipating your opponent's mood, cooperation, and so on. This is a great training that can train both your observation and armament Haki, and overall a great battle and strategic training. Sanji thought this one up himself, finished the fishman complimenting the cook. After the supplementary explanation from Jinbei, Sanji moved a little to stand in front of the trainees. Now, run and fight for your lives, Sanji shouted loudly by kicking the ground, breaking the rocks near him and giving the start signal abruptly. While all the trainees ran and disappeared towards the forest, Sanji returned to the table, sat and grabbed his cup of coffee. Isn't that too much of an handicap, Sanji? Yamato said, one eyebrow curved up, wondering what the cook was doing. The forest is huge and has a lot of hiding places. In 1 hour you might not find everyone. Don't worry, Yamato-san. I have to give them a head start, right? Besides, nothing beats a coffee when it's at the right temperature. Would you do me the honor of joining me? Don't worry, Yamato. Sanji's range of observation Haki is pretty impressive. He will be able to chase them through the whole forest. Luffy explained, sitting as well and drinking his orange juice. TCH, at least challenge yourself a little. Always giving challenges that you are sure not to lose, Zoro said, without realizing he was also complimenting his rival. Oh, I see, said Yamato, impressed by the compliment and eager to see what Sanji can do. Then I would rather have a cup of tea if you don't mind, Yamato replied. Of course, my lady. Sanji made Yamato's tea and finished his cup of coffee. He now lit a cigarette up and looked at the forest, eyeing different directions as if he was marking locations in his heads. Over there, and over there, huh? After a few seconds, he closed his eyes, remembering the locations and deciding on his next course of actions. Finally, he opened his eyes and looked at the forest with a menacing smile. The 10 minutes had passed. Now, let's begin the hunt. In the forest, Nami was running alongside Usopp and Carrot, searching for some place to hide and trap Sanji. They had full knowledge of the speed and strength of their companion and had given up on trying to hide until the time limit. The Straw Hats had decided to separate into small groups, as they would all stand out otherwise. Nami and Usopp were used to work together, but this time they decided to take Carrot along with them. Nami, what do you think of that place? Usopp asked, bringing his hands to his mouth in a way to show that he is whispering. Nice, it is a big open area, so we will be able to plant some traps and prepare the ground for my thunder attacks. The goal will be to anticipate his arrival. Now let's try to sense his presence, Nami answered, mimicking his gestures. And if it doesn't work, I'll have the space to launch an attack against Sanji, Carrot yelled, earning herself a quiet sign from Nami and Usopp. The traps were all set and the three were hidden and doing their best to try to sense Sanji in an attempt to surprise him and train their observation haki as well. All three were positioned not far from each other, but in a way that trees and plants covered for their positions in case someone was detected or if they needed to change their hiding spot quickly. Nami and Usopp's plan was simple. The three of them stayed with each other because they knew that losing Sanji was impossible. Winning in a straight-on fight was even less realistic. So their only option was to restrain him. With the duo's cleverness and knowledge of traps they might be able to pull it off. And in case something goes wrong, Carrot could always buy some time by engaging in a head-on battle. Usopp and Nami might have been unfair but they knew that Sanji could not attack women. He was not an idiot so some countermeasures must have been taken but with Carrot's strength he will have his hands, or feet, tied. I see that you came well prepared, but this is not enough. A familiar voice lurking behind Usopp said. Usopp did not have time to react before being kicked in the gut and sent away several meters ahead. However, he did not get knocked out as Sanji held back enough. You must have think things thoroughly, but this is all meaningless if I can sense you before you do Usopp. Nami-san, Carrot-chan, Sanji said by looking at the direction of both women, forcing them to come out of their hiding spot. Well, it is a training so I guess I should give you a chance. Hey, Usopp I know you are not knocked down so get up and try to hit me with all the traps you have, Sanji said by looking down at the sharpshooter. Usopp then got up with a little difficulty still feeling the kick. Well, to knock down this monster we should go all out, don't you think guys? Usopp said by arming his weapon and looking at the cook who hadn't moved from his position. Suddenly, giant plants were sprouting from the ground trying to hit Sanji who evaded them with ease. Then, a thunderbolt came his way which he also evaded but a fly him with her gauntlet which Sanji had to take on as he did not want to guard against Carrot with armament haki afraid of hurting her. Well, you took me by surprise, didn't think you would launch this many attacks like that, Sanji said a little taken aback by Carrot's attack. She did not stop there as she was continuing her attack by a series of electric strikes from her gauntlets, forcing Sanji to move from his spot to evade her barrage of attacks. You are not Pedro's student for nothing, Carrot-chan, Sanji said impressed by the speed and strength behind her movements. He thanks Sanji, said the lovely mink while continuing her terrific barrage of electric attacks. Suddenly Sanji sensed something hooked on his feet. These were humanoid plants that jumped on his feet and arms to slow him down. Midori Boshi. Human Drake. Your greatest weapon is your speed so if we take that away you will be in a bind. You think that is enough? Even slowed down, Sanji managed to barely evade Carrot's attack. While he was busy taking care of the plants slowing him down, another huge attack came towards him. Ninpo. Radii. Nami who had created a large dark cloud above Sanji and Carrot launched her thunder. Carrot expecting that quickly got away. Sanji felt that the attack could damage him so he upped his speed and used a powerful skywalk to get away from the attack. However as he barely got away he was off balance and while he saw it coming he could not evade the dash attack from Carrot electrical gloves. Instead he decided to take it on without armament haki or counter-attacking to avoid hurting her. Aletswaf. He was still pushed by the blow and while he felt the power and the electrical current going through his body, he managed to stay on his feet. His skin is so hard, said Carrot in disbelief about the sturdiness of Sanji's body. Not bad, your team play is impressive. Slowing me down was the right idea. You even used the fact that I won't attack a woman to get a hit on me. You're not gonna call us cowards for using this tactic, are you? Of course not, taking advantage of your opponent's weaknesses is part of a fight. But now that I am prepared for this trick, you are out of options. Don't underestimate us, Sanji-kun, this is just the beginning, Nami said smiling at the cook while Usopp shot other plants around Sanji's feet that quickly grew into large plants that were willing to tie him up and Nami created a black cloud above Sanji's head, ready to fire a lightning to block any escape route. This is useless, Sanji said before changing directions mid-air by utilizing skywalk, thus evading the thunder that hit and fried some of the plants launched at him. Sanji jumped towards the rest of the plants and began kicking them. Now Carrot, Ninpo, Ectoplasm Thunder. Nami and Carrot used their combined electricity not towards Sanji, but towards the group of plants attacking Sanji. However the great magnitude of the thunder propagated between the plants and reached Sanji. Rather than trying to escape, Sanji endured the attack a bit and quickly coated his right leg in fire. Diable Hambi. Extra Hachi. His leg quickly kicked through all the plants who were destroyed rapidly due to the fire and sheer force of the kicks. Not a bad plan, but it does not work if you do not completely overwhelm your enemy with your attack. No way, even his decision-making is top tier. Rather than trying to escape the attack, he immediately decided to destroy the source of it, yelled Usopp, upset that their plan did not deal more damage. What's next? You're in for a surprise, said Usopp picking some munitions from his bag. Run guys. Midori Boshi. Rafflesia. Usopp launched a pop green on the ground which exploded into a thick red smokescreen with a foul scent. Sanji was slightly blinded and jumped backwards to avoid being caught in the smokescreen. When the air dissipated, the three of them were gone. He quickly looked for the three of them who were retreating in the forest, probably in their next hiding spot. I see they were just gaining time before retreating. But this is way too soft to stop the passion in my heart, Sanji said by using Skywalk to catch up to them. Shit, he is way too fast, Usopp said by trying to shoot some plants at him, but Sanji evaded all of them. Usopp was by no means a close-range fighter. It is even safe to say that if the enemy closes the distance between them, he was beaten. Therefore, Usopp bet it all on hiring and slowing Sanji down right now as he was approaching very quickly. He might have been running and breathing hard, but his concentration was at his apex. Suddenly, Usopp's vision darkened. Or it was more precise to say that everything but the people around him darkened. It was a very strange sensation. It's not like he was blind to everything else, but more like he could distinguish people's aura more specifically. And in this state, he was able to track down Sanji more precisely. Again, it's like that time, he already felt this sensation, back in Dressrosa when he had to shoot Sugar. However, Sanji was way too fast for him. So he tried to send his munitions to the 3 or 4 directions Sanji seemed to have evaded the most, as well as the one that he seemed to be evading by reading his aura, to close all escape routes. Midori Bodhi. Shuriken. By sensing Sanji's movements, Usopp could quickly change the trajectory of his shots to close off Sanji's escape route. Some shurikens even managed to reach the cook as he had to kick them off, slowing him down a little. Oh, I did not expect that, Sanji said, genuinely impressed at Usopp, who was most likely able to sense his movements even if it was for a short while. Time to speed up a bit then. Seeing that his escape routes had been closed, Sanji sped up his pace and then run to his first escape route before Usopp's plant could hit, and quickly shifted his body to avoid the plant. After evading the blow, he kicked up another gear and went after Usopp. Sensing Sanji approaching, Usopp panicked and launched a great number of munitions, but neither of those were close to reach their targets as Sanji evaded them once again. Remember this sensation. You make great use of observation Haki, but you are far too unskilled right now. Remember what Yamato-chan said? You need to have a calm mind to efficiently use it, Sanji shouted just before kicking Usopp in the gut and making him fly towards a tree. This was observation Haki, said Usopp, not knocked out as Sanji held back but not in a state to get up or continue the fight. Yes, congratulations. I suspect you might have awakened it before, but now we will be able to train you to master it, said Sanji with a smirk as he was actually proud and happy for Usopp. Hee, I beat you to it Nami, said Usopp weakly but with a great smile on his face. After Usopp fell down accepting his defeat, the cook turned towards Nami and Carrot. Now then, we give up, Nami and Carrot both said by lifting both of their hands in a defeat sign. At this distance we can't escape you, so it is our loss. This was not because of cowardice that Nami and Carrot had given up. They knew that with Usopp out, Sanji would have a much easier time cornering them if they were only 2 at this distance. And they did not want to take advantage of the fact that Sanji could not hit them to restrain him. Using Carrot to tie his hands was one thing, but this would defeat the purpose of the training. To know when to give up is also a sign of growth. I see, you have analyzed the situation pretty well Nami-san, Carrot-cha, said Sanji while relaxing. Indeed, at this distance you could not have escaped me. But Sanji, I gave up because you were way faster than me and I could not even hit you. The only time I was able to, you were so tough that I did not even hurt you. But what was your plan to restrain me without hitting me? Asked Carrot, genuinely curious. I actually let you hit me on purpose, Carrot-chan. Knowing how prideful you are, one of your hits and by evading all the others I could prove my superiority to you, and if I managed to catch you, you would give up on your own. Woo, so you planned that far ahead? That's awesome, said Carrot, impressed by the cook foreseeing. In time you will be able to do that. You have insane potential, Carrot-chan, said Sanji smiling at the mink. Sanji then suddenly turned around sensing something. Oi, don't go relaxing. The voice of a familiar blue-haired cyborg yelled, approaching. Sanji saw Frankie, Brook and Chopper coming to him, prepared to fight and not to hide. It would be meaningless to just hide as it is training, so don't hold back Sanji, Chopper said, transforming into his Kung Fu point form. He expected some sort of reaction from Sanji, but he just shook his head in all directions as if looking for something. Isn't Robin-chan with you? Sanji asked abruptly, tears in his eyes. Robin-san said that she would take you down with her own way, yo-ho-ho-ho, Brook said while taking his sword out, chilling the air around the weapon. Arg, why am I always on the losing side? Come at me. I'll make short mints of you, Sanji said by sighing and waiting for the 3 of them to launch their attack. He did not need to go easy on those guys, so he prepared himself. Yo-ho-ho-ho, how harsh, Sanji-san. It was Brook who came first and tried to deliver an attack by diving very fast towards Sanji, his sword pointing at him. Sanji could see what Brook was trying to do, as he saw Chopper running around him looking for an opening. Therefore, he coated both of his legs in armament Haki and lifted his left leg up in order to counter Brook's attack. This allowed him to push Brook away and to turn around to kick Chopper, who was trying to hit him with a flying kick. This did not seem to bother them as they got up again, and Sanji could sense many flying projectiles coming at him. It was Franky who launched many missiles at him, and even with his speed he could not find an angle to evade the missiles and had to kick some, creating a dust cloud, making them lose sight of Sanji. Chopper jumped into the air in his heavy point and threw Brook, who came flying with his sword pointing at Sanji still in the dust at full speed. Even Sanji was thrown away by this combination and could barely dodge the attack as he was still recovering and getting up from the shock of the missiles. He could see a light from Franky's hands. Radical beam. He could barely dodge by twitching his body. As he lost his balance, Chopper and Brook cornered the cook by coming from his two sides and were launching a barrage of attacks at him. Sanji had no other choice but to endure while Franky ran towards him. Strong right. He finished with a very strong right that made Sanji fly several meters ahead even if he partially blocked it. As they knew that the cook was very fast, they all jumped on him to deal as most damage as they could without him retailing. Sanji took a deep breath before the three could jump him. He did not take the three of them lightly, but he still did not expect them to work together so well. That's to be expected, I guess. They went through all kinds of battles together, so he was not the only one who grew stronger. He would have to kick things up another gear. Suddenly, Franky was the first to run towards Sanji despite being the slowest out of the three. Heavy boxing. Franky used a series of punches that were heavy and powerful, but nothing too much for Sanji to block with his legs. Then he quickly gave a big kick to Franky to push him away before the others joined the fray. Kakuho. Elf. Sanji suddenly felt something coming from the ground and jumped to the side to evade the attack. Emerging was Chopper and Hornpoint, who dug a tunnel to attack from below the ground. However, even Sanji, who had top-tier speed and reflexes, barely avoided the attack. Ekakuta. Hitoyorigiri. 3 ice horizontal cuts came at Sanji, who had to coat himself in armament Haki to receive the full brunt of the attack. He was pushed away but quickly got back in a fighting stance. As he saw that the three opponents quickly tried to jump and pummel him with another barrage of attacks, he decided to act quickly. Not bad at all. I can't let my guard down against you. Try to resist this, you dumbass, the cook said, igniting his leg in a red flame. Diable Humby. Jared. The cook put his hands on the ground and let his kicks rotate, blowing away Brook and Chopper, who were going to attack him. What he did not expect was that Franky managed to catch his feet even if he suffered and gasped from the swift impact. Sanji then spinned around himself to get free and eject Franky. When he was free, he noticed that Chopper and Brook were already on the offensive again. As he did not have time to deal with the three of them, he kicked Franky towards Chopper to disrupt his timing and attacked Brook first, as he was the fastest of the three. Seeing Franky flying at Chopper as they both fell on the ground, Brook was surprised and reacted at the last moment and managed to protect himself with his sword, but was still blown away. But Brook protected himself by lowering the temperature of the fire of the kick with his ice sword. While still flying because of Sanji's kick, he managed to put his sword on the ground to stop his course. But rather than gathering himself, Brook used his low weight to spin around his sword, not losing any momentum, and then propelled himself sword in hand towards Sanji again. Gavat Bond and Avant. Sanji, who was surprised by the movements of the skeleton, managed to evade the attack just barely. Shit. He managed to sense Chopper, who was already in his Kung Fu form, but could not evade as he landed a devastating combo on him. Kung Fu Combo 1. Sanji managed to defend, but the awkward position he had from evading Brook's attack just now made him fly back a few meters. Sanji was now panting slightly, feeling the accumulated damage from the attacks. We were expecting this. You might deal some damage, but you'll need more to beat us, Sanji, said Chopper while going into his Kung Fu stance and getting up. Oh, I see you all took the hit. Well done. Then how about? Sanji began concentrating his Haki in his right leg before spinning very fast, causing very hot friction. His leg turned blue and the three opponents could only gasp as they could feel the heat coming out from the leg. Sanji, what the heck is this? How are you turning your leg blue? Chopper asked, both impressed and curious. Is this fire or is this something else entirely? This is the fire of love. They didn't even have time to react as Sanji sprinted towards them really quickly. Brook tried to guard with his sword, Franky by guarding with his arms, while Chopper instantly switched to his guard point. Suddenly, Sanji disappeared from their sight and all they felt was a gust of wind before being trashed headfirst to the ground. The three of them just had the time to regroup themselves and lean on Chopper's guard point to lessen the damage given by the cook. Even then, the three of them were almost down and already on their last legs. Oh, I did not expect you to be able to withstand my Ifrit Hambi. Sanji stopped, impressed by the feat of the trio, even if he did hold back as he had trouble controlling the full strength of his Ifrit Hambi. I still have some trouble adjusting the strength of this, so sorry if it hurts. Wait, Sanji-san, if we solve this peacefully I might agree to tell you the color of Yamato-san pant. He did not have time to finish his sentence that a blue kick came towards them at full speed. Ifrit Hambi. Buff burst. Sanji yelled while kicking the center of the gut of each of his three opponent really quickly. His 3 opponents got sent flying against 3 trees before falling down. He then looked at them to see if he managed to knock them out, and they seemed to be fine but unable to continue the battle. Man, when did you learn these things? And also your body seems as tough as mine. As he was lying on the floor. Sanji, is that because of the evolution you told me about? Chopper asked, having already witnessed the toughness of Sanji's body back against Queen. Yeah, but I'm not too fond of it, said Sanji by clicking his tongue a little, thinking about his family. But now I can't do anything about it. I'm still myself and I won't rely more on these bastards' powers, but if I can help us I will gladly accept this part of myself. Bawahahaha, you are super awesome, Sanji, said Frankie while bawling his eyes out. Anyway, are you still up to fight? Said Sanji, a little dumbfounded by the cyborg. Yo-ho-ho-ho, I give up, Sanji-san. You gave me a good hit and there is no way we can beat you right now. Same for us, said Frankie and Chopper, lying on their back exhausted from the fight. Honestly, you were stronger than I expected. Especially the combination attacks. Had I not known your fight style I might have been in more trouble. Now you're just praising us, you bastard, said Chopper, and Frankie, happy but embarrassed about the compliment. Now then, for some reason I had trouble locating Robin-chan, but... You can locate people using your observation Haki, Sanji? Asked Chopper. Yes, that's right, said Sanji before looking over his crewmates. All of them were present and listening. This might be a good occasion, so listen all of you. Robin-chan, you are here, right? Impressive as always, Sanji. Suddenly, Robin appeared from behind a tree and showed no sign of running away or fighting stance. Thank you, Robin Schwan, said Sanji. Now back to the matter at hand. Observation Haki does not magically notice the presence of people. It's like when someone is attacking you. Somehow you can sense their intent, right? It's the same with observation Haki. People who are emanating strong intent, like when they are fighting, are easier to notice. Combined with the ability to sense other people's presences, this is the basis of observation Haki. In time, you will be able to use it in battle. Everyone was paying attention to Sanji's explanation, especially the sniper who had regrouped with Nami and Carrot while the fight unfolded. He thought about something he already experienced. I had a hunch, but this aura thing I sensed back then is really observation Haki, huh? In the same way, some skilled people are able to hide their presence and intent very well. While all of you were running in the forest or hiding, I was able to easily pick up your presence. The only one I was not able to notice was you, Robin-chan. Robin smiled at the genuine compliment from the cook. Being on the run for 20 years and training 2 years with the revolutionaries helped a little. And the fact that you appeared before me like this is because you are probably a clone, right? Correct. I can't beat you in a straight-on fight, and any amount of traps will do me no good. So how about a game of hide and seek? If you manage to catch me I won't fight back and will surrender immediately. Interesting. In these conditions, I won't lose even against you, Robin-chan, said Sanji, smirking uncharacteristically serious in front of the women of this crew. I look forward to it. The archaeologists doubled, then disappeared in a smile of petals. Do you think Robin will be able to outrun Sanji? There's only 10 minutes left. The Straw Hats had returned to their camp where Luffy, Zoro, Yamato and Jinbei were. After the bet given by Robin, the others who had already lost went back to treat their light injuries and wait for the results. This cook is only good for one thing. How useless would he be if he failed that? But I did not expect Robin to be so good. I guess training under your dad must have been incredible, Luffy, said Nami, impressed by the growth of her companion. Yeah, but she told me that my father seemed very strict and mysterious and never trained her himself. He left it to people like Sabo or Koala. He did give her missions and talk with her a lot though. Between your father, grandfather and brothers, you really have an outrageous and yet outstanding family. You are kinda bad news yourself, Nami, said Luffy, thinking about the bad temper and snickering personality of her navigator. Guess we both are one of a kind, said the navigator, looking at her goofy captain. I think they are done. Robin was running through the woods. She just had to stay hidden for 15 more minutes before the time limit. She could not make any mistake. If she lost her temper or made any unnecessary movements, Sanji was likely to notice and catch her within seconds. She looked at her surroundings and let out a small sigh, sensing no one. While she might have not managed to actively awaken her observation Haki, she somehow has a sixth sense that avoided her to get caught. It was further enhanced by the missions and advice given by the members of the Revolutionary Army. That's why she learned to relax as soon as she could in places secure enough. She crouched behind a bush to conceal her presence before switching hiding place if she senses any kind of danger. I think that he will catch up to me nonetheless. I still have one final card to play, but I caught you, Robin-chan. The shivers that usually indicates that she is pursued or in danger did not even activate. Or rather, it did not even have the time to activate as she was caught before that. She then sensed a hand on her back indicating that the chase was over. But being a good player and feeling at ease that the one who found her was her crewmate, she put both hands in the air as a sign of surrendering. I surrender, said Robin, satisfied. How did you sneak up on me like this? I'm pretty confident in my ability to go unnoticed and to notice danger. Even if I don't compare to you, I have some stealth skills myself. I had to run away from crazy people for 2 years after all. But even then, I knew you would notice me if I was approaching, so when I entered your perimeter I just waited for the moment you settled down before going full speed to catch you. So you managed to notice my presence after all, and here I think I was doing pretty well. I would not have been in normal circumstances. This is thanks to the power of love. Would you mind explaining it to me more clearly? Said the archaeologist, a little bothered by the lack of serious from her crewmate. I'm not making things up. I was always able to notice women's presence and intent easier even from far away. And you gave me a hint at the beginning when you used your clone to give the bet. You mean you were able to distinguish my clone and myself? I wondered why you came to propose this bet in such a straightforward way. You were trying to trap me, weren't you? Even your clone had a weak presence when you came. And the only reason someone as cautious as you would do that is to lure me. If afterwards, you used your clone and intentionally gave off strong intent, even if I noticed a small presence and intent from your main body, I would be inclined to think that this is a clone and lost time by chasing the wrong target. That surmises my plan perfectly. So you were able to distinguish between my clone and my main body? This is the power of love. I would never mistake my Robin-chan even with herself. While it is very difficult, when you create your clone and when it disappears, I can faintly sense the presence of your main body. That's how I was able to pin down the area you were in after you proposed the bet. It is my complete defeat, said Robin, satisfied by the result and the explanation from the cook. Haki Training Part 4, Zoro's Training. Sanji and Robin had rejoined with the others, ending the cook's training. After recounting the events and results to the others, they took a short break while Chopper treated everyone before going into the next training session. Sanji was totally awesome, Chopper said, all excited. Indeed, it seems that you are a formidable ally. Thank you, Yamato Schwan. Would you do me the honors of training with me one of these days? Oh, alright. I could not ask for better, but man, I was surprised to see that Usopp would be the first of us to awaken his haki. I am so jealous, damn it, said the cyborg, frustrated. Hum, this must be my innate talent, don't fret over it, Frankie. I'll teach you how to do it one day, replied the smug sniper in an attempt to show off once more. While the cyborg was running after the sniper to get back at him, Zoro stood up and looked at the trainees. So next is finally my training. I call it battle to the death. Is there even a need to explain the rules? Asked the sniper, dumbfounded with a drop of sweat dripping from the back of his head. So we had to fight you in a head-on fight? I don't like the sound of that, said Nami, not wanting to take on this musclehead head-on. I don't know if I will have enough meds for everyone. Only by fighting strong opponents you will grow, is what I would have liked to say, but Jinbei pestered me to change my format. Jinbei and Ikki, said the cowards, and Brook, who joined them, full of gratitude towards the fishman. Indeed, while an all-out battle would be interesting, if it comes to that you will not be pushed towards your reserves and it will defeat the purpose of the training and of the evolution. Moreover, if Zoro takes on all of you, I think that even he will forget that he is supposed to be training you, be too absorbed in the fight to evaluate your prowess. So instead of fighting all of you at once, we will do it like a dojo format, but revisited. You will all come at me by groups of 2 or 3 and I will take you on. If you manage to beat me, restrain me or make me give up, this is my loss. If I beat you, restrain you or make you give up, this is my win. Even if one group beat me, it will be considered the victory of your entire group. When one group is beaten, the next one can go on without rest. The location is this open area. Indeed, I am very satisfied with this format that is reminiscent of Fishman Karate. By going in groups of 2 or 3 you will be able to adapt your fighting style and will be put in challenging situations. I call this operation, numerous round battles by groups of 2 or 3, enabling precise evaluation of. It's too long. Let's just call it, fight in series, said Luffy, eager to see them start the fight. Well, I suppose that works, so the goal here is to wear you down by fighting you constantly and finding the right combinations to put you down, summarized Frankie. That's it. I'm not like that sneaky coward over there. He fought all of you by separating you and making you run. Some of you fought him head on, but that was not coordinated with the others. Had you all ganged up on him, you would have had a chance of hurting the damn cook more. I can't help it, I can't fight the ladies, and that was a fine training, you damn swordsman. They were using their physical abilities but also their head and other useful skills when compared to an idiot like you. I'm gonna make you regret these words later, said the swordsman by turning to his students again. So unlike him, I will take you all on without rest in this open area. No tricks involved. Come at me however you want. The Straw Hats trainees were away from the others in circle, thinking deeply about the nature of this training compared to the previous one. However, all of them were silent, as if trying to find the best tactic themselves or trying to make the most of this training. Brook was the first one to speak up. Indeed, Zoro-san is right. I don't know if we could have beaten Sanji-san, but if we all coordinated ourselves instead of being separated, we would have posed more trouble for him. I think the same, added Chopper. But the truth is that we got overwhelmed by Sanji's strength and strategy. Here Zoro proposes a straightforward way to beat him, but this is a double-edged sword. If we don't have a good tactic or mess up, he will overwhelm us right away. But if we do this right, we might be able to give him some trouble, finished Carrot, who was especially concentrated. But we will suffer some losses without doubt. So the question now is finding the right people to team up and in the right orders to deal the most damages, added Nami. It will undoubtedly go towards the end with this monster, so we need to surprise him with some things he will not expect, said the sniper while putting his finger on his head trying to find a combination, said Usopp. Oh, and also we have to take into account. Oh yeah, good idea, then how about? While the Straw Hats trainees were discussing strategy, Zoro joined up with the others. Hey, I expected them to complain more, but they're taking things seriously, said the swordsman by smiling. Seeing how serious they were, even you had to take Nami, Robin and Carrot Head on, right Sanji? Asked the fishman. My policy is to never hurt a lady, but also to respect their wishes, so I found a way to take them with my full strength. Be it Nami-san, Robin-chan, Carrot-chan or the other idiots from this crew, they were all 100% determined to become stronger, so I had no choice but to respond in kind, said the cook while smiling. Yeah, I think that you really motivated them, Yamato, said Luffy smiling to Yamato. Well, I think that might have clenched their fighting spirit, but seeing how eager they all are, they did have a genuine wish to become stronger. To become stronger for the sake of their loved one and their goal. You really have a good crew, Luffy. She, I know. So hurry up and join us as soon as you can, you're already a part of us. Roger, Captain, said a smiling Yamato, having never experienced this kind of happiness and warmth in the longest time. So, are you done with your strategies? Zoro was now facing the students who seemed to have finished strategizing. Usopp stood before the lot and spoke in a very confident and cocky manner. Yeah, you don't believe what's awaiting you. Be prepared for a tough trial, Zoro-kun. Oh, some confidence you got. So who's up first? It will be us, but don't think you'll beat us that easily. Coming forward was Nami, who moved alongside Usopp. The rest of the students backed down a little so that they could not interfere with the fight but join as soon as things were over. I did not think you would have the guts to come forward first. But will the two of you be alright? You're weak at close quarters, right? That's only if you manage to get close, yelled both Nami and Usopp. Midori Boshi. Platinus Shuriken. Usopp began firing pop greens around Zoro, which transformed into shurikens like plants. They were numerous but not of any threat to Zoro, who decided to evade and deflect the majority of them without moving from his starting point. Weather Egg. Thunder Breed Tempo. Nami then unleashed a thunder above Zoro, which he managed to evade. If this is all you were able to come up with, I am afraid this is not even a contest. Midori Boshi. Take Rave Jin. Without even taking the time to answer him, Usopp fired another series of pop greens towards him. These ones were more aimed towards his feet, and Usopp's skills allowed him to place the plants in circle, trapping Zoro without even moving from his spot. Suddenly, large bamboos grew from the ground and shot up to attack Zoro, who jumped slightly to give himself more space. As he was jumping in air, he saw he was headed towards three dark clouds positioned into a triangle. It will either be my thunder trap or Usopp's bamboos. Which do you want to take head on? The duo see this situation, but the green-haired swordsman smirked. Your teamwork is great, you've got me trapped, but... Zoro then decided to launch an aerial attack on the clouds first. Hyakuachi Pound Hu. The sheer force of the long-ranged attack obliterated the clouds, and Zoro could continue his path towards the ski more easily. When he reached the peak of his jump and began falling down, he put himself into an attack position and used the momentum to attack and slash the bamboo trees. After making mince works of the plants in a few attacks, Zoro decided to move. When his body reached the ground, he quickly dashed towards Usopp and Nami, who had regrouped. Suddenly, a few plants emerged from the ground under the area Zoro was. These plants were humanoid and jumped onto Zoro's limbs and body, effectively slowing him down. As soon as Zoro decided to take care of these plants, an attack came from his side. Ninpo. Radii, a spiky black ball came from Zoro's side. More specifically, the spiky ball was attached to an extended baton that belonged to Nami. The electric club on closer inspection possessed a face in the form of Zeus. Zoro, still slowed down by the plants, turned his body and placed his swords coated in armament Haki to receive the blow. Zeus managed to hit, but Zoro, who was still pushed down by the attack and recoil, seemed to have successfully tanked the attack. Hey, I thought that close quarters combat was your weakness, but with Zeus, you might have overcome this weakness. Had I taken this attack without defending, it might have spelled trouble. No way, I thought this attack would affect him a little more. Even Ulti with her hard skin was affected. Don't stop now, Nami, he's going to attack. Midori Boshi. Dokuro Bakuhatsu Ho. Usopp launched a pop green which exploded upon impact. However, rather than shooting it towards Zoro, he shot it towards the ground, which created a giant explosion, leaving a lasting red smoke. Are you trying to escape? But it's no use, I can sense your voice. Ninpo. Radii, in the fog. Zoro could sense an attack coming towards him. More specifically, he sensed an electrical attack coming his way. You may try to take advantage of the fog and a big range attack, but this attack is too predictable and low on precision. Sensing the attack coming from above, Zoro quickly jumped forward to evade the lightning impact, but at this exact moment. Now, Zeus. Yes, Nami, to his surprise, the thunder which crashed onto the ground twisted itself as if it had substance and launched itself towards Zoro. On closer inspection, the thunder possessed a face which was Zeus, Nami's new companion. Zoro had to act fast, otherwise, this attack could be a little trouble to him. He stretched his arms and swords before unleashing his counter. Kokuho o Tatsumaki. A powerful slashing whirlwind was created by Zoro's rotating attack. The attack was so mighty that the thunder attack and Zeus were blown away as well as the fog covering the land. The attack also blew away Usopp and Nami, who prepared themselves for the attack, which hurt even if attenuated as they were not near the center of the whirlwind. No way. Zoro took advantage of his opponent's surprise to dash towards them and gave a swift attack with his swords that knocked them away. As he used the blunt side of his swords, they were not cut, but the force of the impact left them on the ground unable to fight anymore. I wondered how that thunder was able to change directions, but it was Zeus behind it, huh? That's why my attack was able to deflect it. You're a monster. I thought we could at least land one attack on you, but brute strength solved everything at the end, huh? Said Nami, a little dejected that their plan was broken so easily. Yeah, that's cheating, Zoro. Learn to read the room a little. You weren't half bad actually. I thought that your weakness was close quarters combat, but it was all a setup to use Zeus, right? And your strategy and teamwork definitely was good. If you had one more fighter on your side who could have occupied me, your last attack might have landed. Now that the fight was over, the other Straw Hats approached, commenting themselves on the battle. That was awesome, Nami. Usopp. You really held your ground against Zoro, said Yamato, genuinely impressed by the battle prowess of the two members. Thank you, Yamato, but we still have a long way to go. We were out of battle as soon as we were out of ideas. You weren't that prepared when you fought me. I guess that when you're back in against the wall, you surpass your limits, huh? Commented Sanji, genuinely impressed. If you had Carrot-chan fighting with you like with me, your attack would probably have struck the damn moss head. I might have get hit, but I would not be hurt like the pushover you are, Lovecook. What was that? Hey, let's continue. Watching you guys fight is pretty fun. I figured as much, but you all became really strong. I fear no one with you by my side, ha ha ha. Even if they won't accept it, such a genuine compliment from another member, and their captain specifically hit all their sensitive points. Now all of them were blushing and smiling like pretty idiots. Well, if you put it like that, I can't help but become stronger, laughed a creepy Usopp while smiling like a 5-year-old boy. Don't mention it, we'll beat anyone and steal the treasures of all the emperors, continued a fired up Nami. If you compliment us like that, watch our fight, you damn bastard, said a smiling Chopper whose body was waving like paper. We're gonna super beat the hell out of you, Zoro. If it is to please Luffy-san, I might hurt you a little, Zoro-san. So you are my next opponents then? Bring it on. The next opponents were Chopper, Frankie and Brook. The other Straw Hats had backed off to enjoy the next fight while the contestants were getting ready. Fortunately, apart from a bruise and light cuts, Usopp and Nami's injuries were light, so Chopper quickly gave them some band-aids before preparing himself. Sanji approached Usopp and sat in the chair next to him to watch the fight. Frankie also joined them as he was already raring to go. The same team as before? I suppose you thought of a strategy taking the result of our fight into account. Yeah, don't worry, we are super ready for this. We know Zoro is just as tough as you are, so we came even more prepared than earlier. Do your best, Frankie. You gave Sanji some trouble earlier, so with a better preparation you might give Zoro a run for his money. Well, I could not afford to go easy on them, or I might have felt overwhelmed. No offense to you and Nami-san, but these three together could spell bad news. I'm sure Moss head over there feel the same, so he will take things seriously from the start. Nah, don't worry, Nami and me perfectly know where we stand, so we are grateful for you not underestimating us and training us for real. Actually, I was more surprised that you did not have any complaints with the girls fighting these barbarians. Sanji answered with a slight smile before puffing a smoke from his cigarette. While it is not to my liking to see a lady get hurt, I know that the ladies here can all hold their fight, and I witnessed myself their strength and determination. Some images from the fight with the CP9 agent Khalifa or the recent fight with the Tobirapo Black Maria flashed through his mind. I even had to show Nami-san and Robin-chan my pathetic self, but somehow being the one asking for help and being protected felt good. I knew that Nami-san and Robin-chan could fight just as much as you guys, but before I would not have dared to ask a lady to fight in my stead. However, seeing all your growth and how far you made it, I thought that maybe they felt the same as I do and felt the happiest when fighting for someone else. So more than ever, I want to respect their determination to grow stronger. And yours too, by the way. I see, responded Usopp, smiling. I guess we are all growing. Nit. Showing your weakness to the ones you trust is the manliest thing you can do, Sanji, said Frankie while crying his eyes out. But if that damn moss head had not used the blunt of his swords to hit Nami-san, I would have fried him on the spot. And if he had sliced me, part of training, Maybe you didn't grow after all. I heard you lost against that cook. I am not as soft as him, so you'd better perform better or I am gonna cut you up. Don't worry Zoro, we do not intend to lose. Like with Sanji, Brook was the first to jump out. But instead of a swift attack, he ran quickly towards Zoro before unleashing a series of attacks with his sword. Zoro used 2 of his swords to parry the attacks and retaliate with more of his own. While Zoro was quickly gaining ground, Brook's agility allowed him to continue attacking without receiving heavy blows. From behind, Zoro could notice Chopper in his horn point charging towards Zoro. Looking to escape from the ambush, Zoro used heavy blows to push Brook away and jump out of the way. However, jumping straight to Zoro in the air, Franky appeared in a punching position. Strong right. As he had no way to evade or counterattack, Zoro used his swords to block the attack but still felt the blunt strength and weight of the cyborg's punch making him fly several meters away. Not far from here the other Straw Hats were commenting on the fight. Oh, I thought about it when they fought me, but these shitheads really learned on how to use their head. What do you mean Sanji? Asked a curious Carrot. The other members who fought him were also interested in the answer, so they looked at Sanji. Well, you did see how they fought me, right? What do you think when you compare the 2 fights? Well, they seem to use more or less the same approach than with you, answered Nami. But doesn't that mean that they did not adapt their strategy? Added Usopp, pointing out at what the trainees thought. Quite close but not exactly. The process is similar but the end goal is totally different. I am more of a quick and agile fighter who swiftly take care of opponents. So they loaded me with a lot of quick and numerous attacks to overwhelm the information load and wear me down little by little. However, Moss Head is more of an heavy fighter. Like me, he swiftly takes care of opponents but with powerful and big attacks that do not allow counters. Therefore, they tried to overwhelm him with a great number of attacks, but it is more a mean of distraction as their end goal here is to catch him off guard and damage him with a big hit like Franky's punch and Chopper's charge. The other Straw Hats, especially the non-fighters, were impressed. To be honest, they often called the fighters the idiots of the crew, but they did not think there were so many subtleties when it came to fighting. If I may add, interjected Jinbei. If you look at the nature of the attacks, you should be able to understand their strategy more precisely. What was the first attack they did on Sanji? I think it was Brook sending a quick sword strike towards Sanji. Right, and what is the difference with Zoro? He kinda ran towards him to get into an exchange of blows? Exactly. With Sanji, the goal must have been to put him on his guard with attacks that could come out of nowhere, putting his attention to the max and accumulating the damages little by little. With Zoro, the answer they found is to constantly occupy him and find the opportunity to launch a decisive attack. This may seem similar, but these are subtleties that take into account the fighting style of the allies, the opponent and the different matchups. Wow, I didn't know that our crew was amazing, but I am still impressed, said Usopp, quickly focusing on the fight again, learning all he can. Robin was also very interested. For someone who did not particularly like to fight, finding the strategies very interesting. I may take some notes for my turn next. Carrot, would you like to observe things together? Yay, I'm coming. After being pushed away, Zoro quickly recovered and got up as if he received no damage at all. Before he could say anything, Chopper jumped on him in his kung fu point and tried to launch a combo on him. Zoro quickly pushed him away with a big swing from his swords, but as soon as he was done, he noticed a light coming from Franky's hand. Radical beam. Zoro ran frankly towards the beam and evaded the ray of light barely. He used this opportunity to get close, but suddenly he sensed a chill coming from the side. Gavotte Bond and Avant. Brook launched a quick strike with his sword, coming at full speed. Waiting for the moment Zoro evaded the beam. Zoro could not react in time and received the full brunt of the attack and was pushed away even if he defended himself with armament Haki. Not bad, your strategy is good and I definitely felt your attack, grinned Zoro from the strength of his opponents, feeling the strike from the sword. Then act a little more in pain, answered Franky, smiling and shivering in excitement at the toughness of his opponent. It seems I can't take things lightly with you, said Zoro, taking up his third sword and putting it in his mouth. I'm going all out. When Zoro went on the attack, he quickly charged towards the 3 in a swift motion, then pointed the 2 swords in his hand forward like a bull. Before he could make contact, Franky and Brook took a fighting stance, while Chopper returned briefly into his hybrid form. Brain point. Scope. Scanning Zoro's current weak point, he quickly got back into his kung fu form to take the attack. Santoryu. Ushibari. Then multiple swords hits were delivered in a single instant to his 3 opponents. They did their best to block and endure the attacks, but the sheer force and number were hard to deal with, so they got pushed back from the attack. The one who managed to get away was Chopper, who unexpectedly tried to get closer to Zoro instead of running away. He tried to hit him with a combo in his kung fu point, but Zoro anticipated this and delivered the final strike of his series of attack on Chopper, who got pushed away. Kokute. Roseo, however, as he was hit, he managed to get a hit on Zoro's knee, in the form of a petal, who lost balance for a minute. Not bad, Chopper. Honestly, this is not really a weak point. Just considering that your injuries have not totally healed, Your stance put a little more pressure on her right knee. This was all it took from Brook and Frankie to evade the attack and resume the charge. As the swordsman recovered his balance, he saw Frankie and Brook running towards him. He could probably not escape, so he opted to attack them. He positioned his two swords in his hands behind his left shoulder to prepare for a devastating attack. Santoryu. Old Toragari. The swords came down in a powerful shock towards the opponents and emanated an aura similar to a tiger. But before receiving the shock, Brook quickly hid behind Frankie's huge body and Frankie crossed his arms in front of his body, fully intending to receive the full brunt of the strike. While the impact was powerful, Frankie came to a stop but managed to withstand the attack even if he received a lot of damage. Kasaryuda. Fubuki Jiri. A very fast Brook appeared from behind Frankie's back with his sword still sheatheded in the cane. But ice could be seen forming from the cold air around the sword. Then he jumped towards Zoro and unleashed a sword strike that created ice upon impact. Even Zoro was damaged by the attack as he was only able to partially block it and was panting slightly. Wonderful Zoro-san. You are still standing after this hit. I was hoping to at least force you to put a knee on the ground. I was close, to be honest. You really became strong. You deserve to fight me at my best. Suddenly, black lightnings began to emerge from Zoro's swords and a powerful aura unfolded. The three opponents could only gulp in anticipation as the new form from their crewmates and got ready as their whole body was on alert, moaned trouble to adjust the strength of this form, so sorry if you get hurt. Santorio. Kokoba Madara Gari. Then in an instant, Zoro quickly lunged forward, almost disappearing from their sight, and appeared before the three of them and unleashing a devastating three swords hit. What's this strength? This is unlike any of his previous hit. As a reflex, Chopper just managed to use his guard point to avoid being taken out even if the three of them still were pushed away several meters away and had difficulties to stand up again. What's this power? One hit from that and it's over for us. Without you lessening the impact, we would be down by now, Chopper, yelled Frankie, still feeling the impact from the hit. Oh, you managed to guard against that? Very well, I have an even more powerful attack in store. Zoro concentrated himself and some purple aura surrounded his swords and himself. They thought they were hallucinating because they saw two more Zoro behind him and 9 swords in total. Ashura Bake. Moha no Tawamore, please Zoro, we give up. Zoro-san, don't kill me please, even if I am already. The Swift came down and put the 3 fighters down. You are a monster, Zoro, said Chopper, still beaten up. Curse your own weakness, not me, shrugged the swordsman before grinning. Is what I would like to say, but you became really strong. However, before the 3 fighters could get out of the battle area, a lightning strike came towards Zoro. Ready or not, I'm coming, Zoro. Carrot dashed at full speed towards Zoro with her arm extended like a spear emitting lightning. Zoro, who was taken by surprise, acted on reflex and went for a horizontal swing to push back the mink. However, Carrot dodged by jumping mid-air and quickly positioned herself behind Zoro. The swordsman quickly reacted and turned around to block her blow, which produced blue lightning upon impact. Come to think of it, our first interaction was like that, right? Said Zoro while grinning with a firm grasp on his sword. Yes, but this time I am not alone. As soon as Carrot got back on the ground, she launched a series of strikes with her paws which Zoro blocked with his swords. However, as he raised his arms to block the attacks, he felt something holding back his arms. More precisely, arms had grown behind his back and held back his own arms. Because of that, he received some of Carrot's attacks and had to defend himself with armament Haki to reduce the damage. However, the strength from the mink still pushed back the swordsman. I see, so this is your play, Robin. Zoro looked towards Robin, who had joined the arena but still stood at a safe distance from Zoro's and Carrot's clash. Upon noticing his gaze, she smiled and winked at him. Sorry for not letting you rest, but a surprise attack like that had more chance of success. You're not going to complain, are you? Hey, of course not. In real battles, there is no rest. You perfectly understood that, but don't think this is enough to stop me. This time, Zoro led the charge and went for Robin. He quickly noticed Carrot going his way, so he prepared a slashing mid-distance attack to keep her at bay. As soon as he did that, more arms sprouted on him to restrain his arms. But Zoro concentrated his strength into his arms, growing the size of his biceps noticeably. The arms, which were already only restrained partially, Zoro's movements were now completely ignored as Zoro launched his attack. Knee Gorilla, 720-pound hoe. 2 air projectiles were fired toward Carrot, who adjusted her movements mid-air to evade them. But just this moment of inattention proved to be enough time to allow Zoro to reach Robin's place. This is the end for you. Zoro was on high alert for Robin's power, but he also knew about its weakness. Damage done by her sprouted body parts also transferred to her. Therefore, he just had to attack whenever she used her ability to harm her. If she tried to escape, she would probably be too busy to use her power, so he could go after her main body. Either way, this was a win for him. Don't sold me short now, will you? Answered the archaeologist, still in a confident manner. However, an unexpected third option came along. Nico Robin. The archaeologist of the Straw Hats dived under Zoro's line of sight and tried to deliver a punch to its stomach. While Zoro was surprised by the attempt, her physical abilities were nowhere near Carrot's, so he was able to react and block the punch with one sword. But unexpectedly, the attempt did not end here. Robin crunched down and did a turnaround kick on the ground, attempting to make Zoro's feet lose balance. The swordsman pulled back with a short jump to evade the attack, but something caught his legs during his jump. Robin had materialized hands on the ground behind him and caught his legs while he jumped backwards, making Zoro lose his balance and fall down. Not wanting to fall backwards as it would put him defenseless, he gathered strength and twisted his body to fall on the side by forcing one of his hand on the ground. He still had to put a knee on the ground for support. That was when Robin jumped forward once again with a karate stance very similar to Jinbei. Fishman karate. Small gigantium. Even with one knee to the ground, Zoro still managed to block the attack. However, the shockwave from the attack still did some recoil, and he felt the attack as his body was lightly shaken down from the inside and his arm felt numb. Not bad, I would have not expected close quarters combat from you, grinned the swordsman. Don't forget about me, Moonrabbit. Like a spear thrown at a very high speed, Carrot leapt forward, claw in hand and lightning tinkling, ready to pierce through anything in her way. Zoro could have avoided that with his reflexes, but the last trick Robin pulled on him still weighed on his mind. Defending could work, but it was time that Zoro took the initiative before going along with their pace too much. Therefore, he quickly redraws his blades into their sheath and took Wado Ichimonji specifically into his hands. He closed his eyes to heighten his concentration and waited for the right timing to strike. Itoryu Iai. Shi sun sun. In an instant too fast for regular eyes to see, Zoro had moved past Carrot, who was still in the air when she suddenly shouted in pain and fell forward. Zoro quickly redrew his sword. Impressive, you managed to barely counter my strike with your paws so you would not get knocked out. But I doubt you can do much more in your state, so you should. As soon as he said that, Robin jumped forward and seemed to run towards Zoro. Is she going for another strike? But alone she won't be able to do anything. As soon as he thought that, large arms were created behind Zoro and tried to attack him. Not expecting a long-range attack after the last assault, Zoro quickly took his 3 swords out and decided to go after Robin while deflecting the hands. You fell for it, smiled the ever-mysterious archaeologist. Robin, who was running towards Zoro, suddenly vanished alongside the big hands behind her, leaving only Sakura petals. A clone, Electrical Luna. Carrot, who has gotten up, launched an electrical ball on the ground aiming at immobilizing Zoro's movements. Even if the swordsman was caught off guard, he was not completely paralyzed by the attack, but his body felt numb enough to restrict his movements. That was all Robin needed. Fishman karate, gigantium. A giant hand appeared and approached Zoro very quickly to deliver a palm strike. Having to receive to hit, Zoro put his strength into his arms and prepared an attack on his own. As he was about to launch an attack, he saw the giant arm clad in black coating with a light pink tint. Is that armament Haki? Seeing that, the swordsman smiled and decided to answer in return by not holding back. Santoryu. Ringoku Onigiri. After the clash, the victor was decided. The swordsman approached the archaeologist and offered her a hand to get up. You really surprised me. Yubi, I still have much to learn. You completely destroyed my attack, said Robin while taking the hand. The archaeologist turned towards Carrot, who got back up and came towards them. Sorry Carrot, he was too strong after all. Don't be, you were incredible back there. The other Straw Hats approached the fighters. That was awesome Robin. You just used Haki, right? Luffy asked, all overjoyed. So I was not hallucinating, right? Asked Zoro to the captain. I was not sure during the heat of the fight, but your giant arm must have been covered in armament Haki during the last attack. Robin thought back about her attack, remembering the sensations. So that's what it was. I was not trying to do anything deliberately, I just wanted to give it my all into the attack, but I sensed like an armor around it. That's the feeling. Once you experience it for the first time, the greatest wall might have been climbed. While the rest is also very difficult, now you have to train to be able to sense it and manifest it at will, added Jinbei. And once you are able to use one, the other types will be way easier to manifest, said Yamato, speaking from experience. Now, let's get to my training, said the captain, jumping in excitement after such a display. Wait a minute Luffy, we've been through 2 trainings with these monsters. Let us rest first, said Nami, holding Luffy in place with a pinch on his cheek. That's right, Luffy. While the injuries are minor, I would also like to give everyone a checkup. And we can take that time to eat lunch, what about it? Nami added, knowing that would seal the deal. Yosh, let's go. The crew was now sitting across the table and eating. More than resting, they were making things lively by stealing food from each other. Mostly one rubbery person did, yelling at each other and partying it up. Not far from here, Chopper was examining people one by one before letting them go back to the table. It was Zoro's turn right now. Don't bother looking at me. I did not take that much damage. Let's go drink with the others, grunted Zoro at the doctor of the crew. No, you might be fine right now, but your injuries from the previous fight are still recent. I need to see if the damages have not accumulated. TCH, fine, reluctantly agreed the swordsman. Zoro-san, Chopper-san, I brought you something to drink before everything is gone. Oh, I appreciate it, Brook. The skeleton came with 3 bottles of milk in his hand and gave it to the other 2. I would have preferred booze, to be honest. Oh well, I'll take some myself after this. It seems there is nothing wrong with you. I'm just going to bandage the knee that I hit, but you should be fine, concluded the doctor. Told you, you were worrying over nothing. No, I'm not. I decided to become the best doctor in the world. I need to be able to patch you up even if you come back as injured as you all were during our previous fight. Luffy and all of us are going to face even more powerful enemies from now, so I need to be prepared. This is some wonderful dedication, Chopper-san. I'm sure Luffy-san must feel safe with a doctor like you on board. This is for Luffy, but not only for him, he said while looking towards Zoro. I refuse to let something like what happened in Thriller Bark happen again. Zoro widened his eye and looked at the reindeer. You mean, you knew? Not at first. While I found your amount of injuries and Luffy's absence of serious damage abnormal, I could not make a link. But during my 2 years of training I put the dots together when I studied some doents about Bartholomew Kuma's fruit, said Chopper on a serious tone. Brook, fearing that Zoro might be reprimanded, tried to intervene. You see, Chopper-san, at the time the situation seemed desperate. I know, cut the reindeer. I'm not going to tell you to be less reckless. Everyone on this crew would put his life on the line for the others. What I'm angry about is that I left it all to you. Zoro stared at Chopper without interrupting him. I want to become someone you can rely on as a doctor, as a fighter and as a crewmate. When things get desperate, that you can all throw yourselves in the fight and leave the worrying and healing to me. Next time I won't let it happen. Or if it happens again, I'll heal you back so nicely that you will wonder if you were ever injured. The swordsman smirked at his determination. You know what I was thinking when taking the super healing medicine, or when I was at death's door after the battle against King? That no matter what happens, you will heal me so I could break myself all over without a worry. Hey, don't go injuring yourself on purpose. And that does not make me happy, you bastard, said the reindeer while smiling like an idiot and doing a weird dance. He really grew up, didn't he? Said Brook to his fellow swordsman. Yeah, he became so dependable I might even be the one leaning on him from now on, he said while joining the others with Brook and Chopper. Hey, let's go. I'll drink until my scars ache again. Hey, don't do that, you fool. Haki training part 5. Luffy's training. So Luffy, what do you have in mind? Asked Nami, unsure of if her captain had truly prepared a training for them or not. This is called survival game, answered the captain while still chewing on a piece of meat even though the lunch ended. Survival game? Yeah, all of you will be in a battle against me and you need to try and survive the best you can. Isn't that Zoro's training and worse? Jinbei, you said that they had to put some rules at least, otherwise it would not be training, wouldn't it? Yeah, about that. When I tried to tell him that, he called captain's orders and was not able to find anything else, so he had to go with that. But he said that he would hold back and that he prepared a surprise at the end so it would not be a mindless training like Zoro. Hey, sorry, the mindless part was added by Sanji. Luffy just said that he had a surprise for them that would probably make them stronger. While Zoro and Sanji were fighting in the background, Luffy stood before them and looked at them with a serious grin. You will all come at me during this training. I'll let you prepare the area in advance as much as you want. The only rule is that you are out when all of you are knocked out or unable to continue the fight. You can even get patched up during the fight. I don't mind. If you manage to beat me up, knock me out, make me give up or just incapacitate me, it's your win. At the end of the training, when I'll have beaten up all of you, there will be another part waiting for you. This was very well explained, especially considering the nature of their captain, however. Oi, aren't you underestimating us too much? Said Frankie, smiling at the conditions given by his captain. Even you might get in trouble if we all gang up on you and if we can even rejoin the fight once beaten. This does not matter. This is just enough of an handicap. Rather than sounding cocky, the captain sounded excited. They knew that of all people, he was the least likely to underestimate someone. Therefore, they knew that he was serious and that he was going to be a formidable foe. Alright, we heard you. We'll take you full on. Luffy went back to Zoro and the others while the trainees were grouped together while forming a strategy. Usopp began speaking after the others sit down in a circle for their strategic meeting. So what do we do? Even I think that this could be very hard if all of us are together. Even Luffy will be in trouble. Yo-ho-ho-ho, I am not so sure, Usopp-san. While we all got a lot stronger from the previous fight, Luffy-san alone seems like he made leaps and bounds. What do you mean, Brook? Asked the reindeer. Call it a warrior's experience, but when I look at him, his aura seems much more stronger, like he is almost untouchable. It is on the scale of Kaido and Big Mom when I first saw them. He is truly befitting of his title as Emperor of the Sea. I think taking him on with all of us is a testament to that. So you mean that Luffy is so super strong right now, that we could get kicked out of the fight in one blow? That's exciting. I tend to forget, but you are much more experienced than all of us, remarked Nami. If you can tell these kind of things, aren't you already halfway there to use Haki? Yo ho ho ho, maybe I don't know. Call it a sixth sense of an experienced fighter, but yes, this feeling might not be so different from Haki as Jinbei-san explained to us. While they were conversing, Usopp began drawing some plans on a piece of paper. I see, so we need to be even more aggressive than before while remembering that a single mistake could signify our loss. So, how about this strategy for the start of the fight? They all looked upon Usopp's uselessly good drawing and thought for a few seconds. I don't have a problem, but I think this will not be enough, commented Robin. I think the key would be changing formation throughout the fight. I see, do you have any recommendations? I proposed that. While Robin used additional hands to add some details to Usopp's sketches, the others listened on, interjected and added their own ideas to the mix. Hold on, said Nami. I understand that my abilities are the poorest matchup against Luffy, but I think I can use a few strategies that work against him. While she took the pen and explained her strategy, the others either smirked or thought about the odds of it working. This could be a gamble. All of this hinges on the fact that we are all available. Even one mistake could cost us the fight, said Usopp while considering the idea. Hey, I don't see the problem. This is super hard-boiled, I'm in. I was sure you would agreed, Frankie. If we do that then, I think we could also, added the reindeer while taking the pen. Rather than being intimidated by the challenge, the trainees' ideas fused as they tried to take on their biggest challenge yet. So are you all ready? Luffy said after joining up Nami and the others in the initial open area. Yeah, don't take as lightly Luffy, Emperor or not, you might get really hurt. After the words of the sniper, Luffy looked at them and smiled. Let's see if you can stand the heat, and suddenly, the air seemed to grow thicker, almost suffocating, and all the trainees felt an immense pressure and took a step back as a reflex. Some of them even felt that if they let up they would be pushed to the ground or pass out from the sheer aura. It was the aura of someone standing on the top of the sea. Is this his conqueror's Haki? Asked Nami. Luffy took a few steps but the aura seemed to exponentially increase. Zoro and the others looked at their captain and even they got a chill. So this is where he stands after defeating that beast. Hey, he is on the same level as these monsters. This bastard, said Zoro remembering his fight against the two calamities that were Kaido and Big Mom. This sheer pressure, it's even greater than when I saw him on the rooftop, remarked Yamato, impressed by the progress made in such a short time. Hey, so this is like a primary test to see if they can even hope to fight him. This cheeky bastard became smug, said Sanji while smiling. I think they are just fine, remarked Jinbei while smiling and looking at the trainees. After a few seconds, all of them stood straight up and as a sign of determination planted a feet forward. Seeing this, Luffy let up his conqueror's Haki and used one of his trademarks goofy smile. Shi, it seems you are up for a fight, now come at me. Usopp was the first to act. He prepared some munitions and fired them around Luffy. Midori Boshi, Platinus Shuriken, several plant-based shurikens came at Luffy but he evaded them with ease, without moving more than 1 meter from his initial spot. He also caught a few shurikens and shoot them back at Usopp. Hey, they're not supposed to be shot back, said the sniper as he ran away, disrupting their formation. Chopper in heavy form and Frankie came next from the sides and tried to sandwich him while he was distracted. Super Frapper Gong. They tried to give him a simultaneous punch from his two sides but Luffy jumped above them, caught their arms and threw them several meters away. What's next? You'll need more than this to beat me. Then he felt a sudden chill and zapping sensation and saw Brook and Carrot dashing towards him at incredible speed. Kusaruda, Fubuki Jiri, Aletswaf, Brook and Carrot crossed their trajectories so that their attack would intersect where Luffy is and design a X shape. However, just before the attack launched, Luffy moved out of the way and kicked Carrot to disrupt her balance. Being launched at full speed, Carrot was sent against Brook and both fell down without making contact with their attack. Woo, you guys are really fast, but your attacks are too obvious so I sensed them from far away. Following their attacks, Luffy sensed two hands grabbing his feet. Robin, huh? Said the captain while grinning and looking towards Tush far away. Robin with her strength could not hope to pin down her captain. However, she only needed to slow him down a little bit so that the next attack could land. A huge attack was coming above him in the form of a dark club with spikes on it. Looking closely, Luffy could see that the club was very disproportionate as the end was bigger than himself, but the tip vast very tiny. He could trace back the origin of the attack from this and look towards Nami. Awesome, I didn't know you could do that, it's going to hurt a little even for you Luffy. Rather than trying to get out of the attack, Luffy simply shrugged Robin's hands by kicking his feet, overextending Robin's arms on the ground and making them disappear and went into a punching motion towards Nami's attack. Gomu no. Pistol. With just an extended punch, Luffy punched back the club, which made a painful face because it was Zeus, and was totally unhurt from the attack. Luffy then crossed his arms and looked towards all the trainees whose attempts at attacking him failed. What's wrong? Is that all you got? He lightly sneered at them knowing full well that was not the extent of their attacks. I knew he was strong, but his smug face is pissing me off, said Nami, still frustrated that her attacks did not land. Yeah, we knew it was not going to be easy, but he did not even try to attack us once, added Carrot, feeling unusually stressed because of the difficulty of the fight. But he does not have a single opening. Chopper went back into his brain point and scanned their opponent. Brain point. Scope. The scan lasted a few seconds before the doctor announced. Carrot's right. While he is still injured like Zoro, at the moment I can't find a weak spot worth exploiting. It does not exist, let's create one, said Frankie, who was gearing up to go again. With that said, the 7 opponents charged towards Luffy again, who did not move from his spot. But this time, the 7 Straw Hats were coordinating their attacks and formation. Frankie rocket launcher. Midori Boshi. Take Jave Ren. Frankie launched multiple missiles towards Luffy while Usopp launched some plants towards Luffy's feet that grew like bamboos and attacked him. What was most impressive was that the other Straw Hats were navigating without taking any damage between the missiles and plants while actively approaching Luffy. Or more than them navigating, it was more like they managed to run while believing that Frankie and Usopp would not hit them. After reaching the mid-range spot, Robin and Nami stopped while the close-ranged fighters got near. However, Nami held her staff behind Chopper and Carrot and unleashed an attack. Gust wind. A very powerful wind similar to a condensed tornado blew behind them and accelerated their course towards Luffy. Kokute Roseo. Moonrabbit. The two flew like arrows towards Luffy, who ducked by jumping to the side. However, not expecting the speed of the attack, he was late, noticing that Brook also jumped at him with a sword ice ready to strike. Swallow Banderole. Brook performed a vertical slash, but Luffy, even if late, was able to barely react by rolling to the side. However, before Brook could get to the ground, his body unnaturally twisted to the side where Luffy dodged and moved in midair just above Luffy's head. Huh? Gasped Luffy, not expecting Brook's body to twist that way. Swallow Bond and Avant. Luffy could not dodge this strike, so instead he was forced to counterattack as he kicked Brook away. However, even if the target was off mark, the sword tip managed to lightly cut his shoulder along with an ice mark. After kicking Brook away, he noticed some flowers' petals disappearing behind his back, understanding the reason behind Brook's unnatural twisting in midair. He looked towards Robin, who merely smiled at him, happy to have surprised her captain if ever slightly. This only made the captain grin. You guys are awesome. You really became strong, ha ha ha. I knew I could count on you. Not far from here, Zoro, Sanji, Jinbei and Yamato commented the fight. They are really improving by the minute. They are already way better than when they were against me, commented Sanji. Even if they are 7 against 1, they did not make the mistake of underestimating him and even got a hit in, albeit a small one. Impressive, continued the swordsman. If they had just rushed in like before, they could not have done that. I guess taking the 2 of you on managed to better their understanding and tactics during the fight, said Jinbei. You guys really are awesome. But the most impressive one was Robin. Only the most skilled people are able to use their devil fruit with such versatility. Even the timing in which she redirected Brook's attack was perfect. Even Luffy was surprised. Brook also did a good job, continued Zoro following her analysis. He is probably the one with the most experience, but the way he hides his presence and attacks at the last second could throw off even the strongest fighters. Oh, it seems Luffy is getting warmed up as well. You guys are awesome. You really became strong, ha ha ha. I have nothing to fear with you by my side. After the unexpected compliment, the Straw Hats began smiling and acting all smug. Don't expect us to lower our guard because you complimented us, you bastard, said Chopper while dancing and smiling like a child on Christmas. Don't worry, Luffy, if another emperor comes for you, I'll protect the crew and beat the hell out of them, affirmed a certain sniper while pointing his thumb at himself. Now, after this brief interruption, Luffy took a more serious expression again, and the Straw Hats, feeling the tension, took up their weapons and fighting stance again. It's my turn to attack. Luffy suddenly disappeared from their field of vision and appeared behind Usopp. Gomu Gomu no. Jet pistol. Unable to react to the lightning-fast punch, Usopp did not try to evade the attack. Instead, he immediately fired some plants between Luffy and him to have them receive the hit. As the plants were destroyed after the attack, Luffy just attacked the defenseless sniper again. Gomu Gomu no. Jet pistol. Good job, Usopp. Guard point. Chopper, who was launched by Frankie to reach Luffy's location, endured the punch with his guard point. He absorbed most of the impact, but Luffy, noticing Chopper's intervention, changed the direction of his punch and directed it downward so that he could slam Chopper to the ground with great force. Even with Chopper softening the impact, the ground was still shaken and destroyed below him, indicating how much force Chopper must have taken, even if it was only a residual force. While Usopp ran towards Brook, Luffy changed his target and focused his attention towards Robin and Carrot. Gomu Gomu no. Jet Gatling gun. He delivered a series of punches towards Carrot and Robin, who did not move from their position. Frankie went in front of them and crossed his arms to protect the two of them while Robin used her hands to make wings for Carrot to escape the barrage of attacks from the sky. Comet Rabbit. Luffy noticed Carrot above him who tried to somersault kick him, so he stopped his attack and jumped to intercept Carrot. Midori Boshi. Baku Bakuri. Usopp launched a series of plants grenade towards Luffy that were meant to explode near him. Ha ha ha. Now choose Luffy. It will be either my grenades or Carrot's hit. Oh nice, here you can have them back, huh? Before the explosion, Luffy kicked back the grenade towards Usopp and then launched a twisted punch towards Carrot. Gomu Gomu no. Jet Rifle. Gasp. Carrot took the full brunt of the hit and was sent flying. As Luffy was still in midair, he was enveloped in a milky and soft cloud that swallowed him up. What's this? Said the captain, half surprised but enjoying the soft sensation with a dumb face. Milky Ball. Now Brook, phrases Darm, Orchestra. Brook emerged from the smoke crossing near Usopp and swung his swords towards Luffy in the form of A.G. Clef, who was still enveloped in the fluffy cloud. As he had no other way to attack or evade, Luffy coated his arms with armament Haki and received the vertical slash that left some ice residue on his coated arms. Don't let up, attack him now. As soon as the others all ganged up on him, Luffy managed to get out of the way and kicked Brook away. Brook managed to parry the hit but was still sent backwards due to the sheer force of the impact. Radical Beam. Midori Boshi. Impact Wolf, Kokute Roseo. Moon Rabbit. As Frankie, Usopp, Chopper and Carrot unleashed a series of attacks on Luffy, the captain decided in an instant to evade Frankie's beam as it was the fastest. As that put him in an awkward position, he received Carrot's attack but tanked it by coating his abdominal muscles with armament Haki. As the two greatest threats were dealt with, he just jumped on Chopper's head with the right timing to evade his attack and face Usopp's attack. Gomu Gomu no. Bazooka. The captain destroyed the plant wolf, which disappeared into thin air. Incredible, in a matter of a few seconds he managed to find a way out of this situation, said Carrot as she was all the more amazed as the new emperor. Shi, not bad. But still not enough, yo-ho-ho. Luffy-san, you might want to be careful of the slippery ground. While Luffy was distracted with fending off the previous attacks, he noticed that the ground below him had turned into ice, due to Brook planting his sword on the ground and using his powers accompanied by a lot cold bubbles of air. Is it Nami? Having noticed that the navigator helped cooling the ground to make it easier for Brook to ice it and make it even more slippery, the captain tried his best to land on a good position but he still slipped. Zeus. Without warning, Nami unleashed an horizontal strike with Zeus in the form of a bat with spikes. Having trouble to adjust his footing, Luffy jumped again to evade the blow, but then he saw a giant hand in the form of a palm in front of him. Mille-fleur. Spank. A giant hand which seemed slightly coated in armament Haki, rushed towards him. In mid-air and in an awkward position, Luffy could have decided to strike back, but after seeing the other Straw Hats ready to attack when he will let his guard down, he decided to tank the attack by coating his own arms in armament and received the attack, which made him crash on the ground but prepared himself to retaliate. As soon as he crashed on the ground, he quickly got up, blew into his thumb and turned his arm giant and coated it in Haki again. Gomu Gomu no. Elephant Gun. The giant arm strikes towards where Frankie, Usopp, Brook, Carrot and Chopper were, which in face of the destructive attack had no choice but to break the formation and fall back, letting time for Luffy to recover. This is working, even if he is fending our attacks. We forced him on the defensive, yelled Nami to her teammates. Don't let up now. They are holding their ground. This crew is amazing, commented Yamato. Indeed, despite the huge difference in skills and power, their strategy, formation and teamwork are all impressive, added Jinbei. Robin impressed me during our fight, but Brook is really doing a great job. I could learn a thing or two from him, said Zoro, impressed by the fellow swordsman. You noticed too, huh? He managed to conceal his intent to attack until the last second and always strike at the right time. But he is even able to support the others with his ice but never do too much so as not to put himself or the others at risks. I tend to forget that he is much more experienced than us, finished Sanji. But Nami is also impressive. She is doing a fine job supporting everyone as her thunder techniques don't affect Luffy, said Jinbei, noticing the work of the navigator. Suddenly, as the four were talking, an immense pressure filled the air. Zoro, Sanji and Jinbei instinctively took a fighting stance while Yamato smiled nervously while watching the source of this power. Oh, that's right, this must be your first time seeing him get serious after the fight with Kaido, right? Said Yamato, looking at her three crewmates. What the hell? How much stronger did he grow? So this is the power of an emperor, hey what a monster. So this is how far his fight with Kaido has taken him. The four crewmates were watching silently as Straw Hat Luffy began his counterattack. What the hell? I almost feel like suffocating. This is much more intense than earlier, yelled Usopp as he strengthened his legs just to avoid flinching out. He is getting super serious now, be careful guys. Luffy then took a step and smiled at them. Now you guys, let's see if you can take this. Once again, Luffy upped his speed, which almost made it seem like he had disappeared from their eyes. However, the boost of confidence from their earlier tactics allowed them to not lose focus, and they managed to somewhat react in time. Usopp knew he would be a target, so he quickly went behind Franky while both of them shot their munitions. Midori Boshi, Shuriken, Franky rocket launcher. Having sensed the plan's shurikens and missiles, Luffy went straight towards them, confident he would be able to evade them. However, he predicted something else coming and grinned, thinking of another measure. While running towards them, he caught with his bare hands 2 of the missiles Franky launched and threw one towards the ground and one above him. Then all of a sudden, hands alongside flower petals spurted on the ground in anticipation to catch Luffy's feet. However, as soon as they appeared, they only met the missile that exploded in front of them. Robin's hands disappeared and she let out a grunt in pain, having received the full brunt of the missile. In the same way, the missile above hit an incoming Zeus in the form of a spiky hammer, trying to deal a hit from above, as Luffy should have been distracted by the attacks from Usopp and Franky and ultimately Robin's hands. Ouch! Zeus cried out in pain as he took his original form again, his attack being stopped. What the hell? He did not merely sense the attack, he literally used them, yelled Usopp. That's not all, he redirected my missiles and launched them before Robin and Nami used their attacks. As if he knew where the hands and hammer would appear. That's on another super level of sensing. Having fenced off all the attacks, Luffy appeared in front of them. Yeah, that's observation Haki. If you develop it further, you can even see the future that way. Franky then tried to punch him to get out of the way. Strong right. However, instead of counter-attacking, Luffy just prepared his coated arm and uppercut Franky's own arm from under, which made him shout in pain and stop his own attack. Arg! Luffy then turned into a punching stance and punched Franky's stomach. Franky, whose body was made of steel and was one of the most durable member of the crew, fell down after the attack. What the hell? I super sensed the attack all the way to my insides. This is an improvement of armament Haki. This is what the samurai call Ryu, where you diffuse your energy. It can be used as a defensive or offensive means and can let you attack without making contact. You can let the flow of Haki into the body's target or the object you want to destroy, and you can damage it from the inside. Cool, isn't it? Hee, you are a super monster. As the cyborg fell down, the sniper was left alone with Luffy, who merely smiled. Don't panic, don't panic. I need to regroup with someone, if I can just. Midori Boshi. Rafflesia. A green and thick smokescreen covered the area where Luffy and Usopp were, and Usopp used this opportunity to try and make his escape. However, Luffy kicked him with just enough force to make him fly and crawl on the ground, on the verge of being knocked out. Man, you tried to keep your calm, but once Franky was down, and that made it even easier for me to sense you. If you were more calm, you could have sensed me coming and maybe counterattack. It's not like it would have worked anyway. That's right, Shishishi. But you could have tried, now. He turned his attention towards the rest of the crew, because they were scared of how quickly he took down Franky and Usopp and even used their own attacks against them. They changed formation and regrouped together. Show me what you can do next. He began running towards the group, and the first to react was Carrot, who jumped straight at him. Luffy could also see that Brook was waiting in the shadows to follow just after Carrot's attack. He thus came to a halt and prepared for the incoming attacks. He prepared his coated arms, and when Carrot arrived in front of him, he punched the air in front of her and released an invisible aura that pushed her back and made her fall because of her earlier momentum. Then when Brook arrived, he gave a kick in the air just in front of him. Even if the attack did not make direct contact, the energy wave was enough to push Brook back. What was that? Said Nami, still not understanding. He did not even touch them. Shishishi, pretty cool, right? This is also an improvement of armament Haki. You saw what I did to Franky, right? This is actually easier. Instead of using your energy onto a target, you can just let it flow out in the air like this and you get an invisible armor. Incredible. As Brook and Carrot were downed and staggered, they got up quickly and tried to attack the captain. Phrases darn. Orchestra, Comet Rabbit. As they both jumped to get the better of Luffy, he picked up a wood baton from the ground and imbued it with Haki. He then jumped and fended Brook's attack with his baton and pushed him away to do the same thing with Carrot. After that, he waited until his feet touched the ground to quickly jump at them and hit them to the side with his baton with 2 powerful hits. From the sheer strength of the strike, Carrot and Brook were pushed away, especially Brook, who felt pain in the very inside of their bones. As they were gasping on the ground, they battled to stay conscious. If you two learn to imbue your Haki into your weapons, you could become very powerful. You could probably ask Zoro or Yamato about that part, and I am still not very used to project my aura through things, but it seems that works too. Shishishi. As Zoro and the others watched the fight unfold, he was impressed with the mastery of the armament Haki by his captain. Oh, I did not know that you could do his thing even with weapons. Can you do it, Yamato? No, I can't do this. I've seen my father do it, but this is trickier than I thought, so I still did not master it. But I've also seen Luffy destroy my handcuffs that way. Oh, this is just like Rayleigh did on Sabaody. So this is what armament Haki on the next level looks like, huh? Said Sanji, understanding the principles behind the attack. Luffy probably understood this from his training with Rayleigh or by observing the samurai in Wano and figured this was the best way to harm Kaido. His instincts are as sharp as ever, complimented Jinbei. Now they watched back the fight where only Nami, Robin and Chopper remained. Now Luffy took a glance towards Nami. This is also true for you, Nami. Huh? What do you mean? Your whole battle style relies on your clean attack. Either make sure you never lose it or be able to cope without it. It's not like Zeus can control the staff without you, right? Well, yeah, but that's why. As she said that, she swung her clean attack down as Zeus came out of it and tried to hurt Luffy in the form of a spiked hammer. I'll never let anyone near me before the fight is over. Luffy, sensing this, evaded the attack and closed the distance between Nami and him. Just as he was about to strike, what appeared to be Nami became fuzzy and disappeared like a mirage. Mirage tempo, and from there, on a closer look, Zeus' strike faded away, having been an illusion. Now from there I can attack without him noticing. But as she prepared the same type of strike as the illusion did before, Luffy's hand stretched to what appeared to be empty air. His hand then caught a physical form as the mirage dissipated, and it was revealed that Luffy's hand caught Nami's clean attack. Nami was speechless but not surprised, even if she thought she could fool her captain like this. Is this your whole seeing the future thing that allowed you to sense me? I already fooled people with observation Haki with my illusions before. Yes, there is that, but maybe it is because Rayleigh said I was more sensitive to sensing people's emotions than other people, but when you attack, you let your feelings burst out. That's not bad, but if you try to conceal your presence, it makes you stand out, I guess. Oh, and also, Zeus might be great, but I can also sense his presence and emotions, so it makes it even easier to detect you. I see, I guess even an idiot like you can do some thinking, eh? Smirked Nami, knowing that she had no way out. I give up, I'm out of plans. She, you became stronger, Nami, of course, I'm the best after all. She answered with a satisfied smile and falling on the ground, releasing the tension of the fight. Now then, it's just you guys left, huh? He looked towards Robin and Chopper, who were walking towards him. Yeah, it's only the two of us left, no more tricks or strategy, we'll just come straight to you, said Chopper while holding a rumble ball. It's not bad once in a while to let your feelings talk and go all out, added Robin while smiling and crossing her arms. Nice, give me your best shot, guys. As Chopper ate his rumble ball, he transformed into his monster point form, and Robin used her powers to create a gigantic version of herself, or rather an unusual black version of herself with bat-like wings, shaded skin, fangs, horns and a very creepy smile almost reminiscing of a devil. This did not scare Luffy the slightest, on the contrary. Then I'll show you guys how to use Haki and your devil fruit together. As Luffy bit on his arm, he said, Gear 4, bound man. Luffy's body grew and became a lot buffer and disproportionate as it became clouded in armament Haki. Luffy waited, arms crossed while jumping in place, as this form did not have feet, for the two monsters in front of him to take action. Robin acted first and sprouted multiple giant black arms coming towards Luffy, which he evaded by flying into the air. However, Robin's aim was actually to make Luffy fly, as she already prepared multiple additional arms to squash him like a fly. However, as Luffy prepared to take on the arms, instead of squashing him, one of them came at an earlier timing and grabbed hold of him. I see, nice plan you got there, said the captain while being hold. The following arms then came to support the one that was grabbing hold. Even with all these, Robin knew she could not hold him for more than a few seconds, but it was just enough time for Kokute. Palm. Chopper's open palm came at full speed towards Luffy as Robin deactivated her powers, leaving him open. As Chopper's attack reached the target and enveloped Luffy, the hand came to a stop despite his earlier momentum. What? On closer inspection, Chopper's palm did strike Luffy, but his position would not budge despite his palm pushing onto his body in the air. He's hard, but also rubbery, and despite him being in the air with no footing, I can't budge him off. She, doesn't work. Luffy's pushed side retracted like normal as he ejected Chopper's palm with great force, making the giant budge a little. This is my turn now. Luffy flew really fast towards Chopper and then prepared his arm. Gomu no. Kong gun. Luffy compressed his right arm like a spring, then releases the accumulated force into a punch that made the monster fly away and fall down. Incredible. Now Luffy then bit on his forearm again and seemed to grow thinner, especially on the torso side, and looked much more toned than before. Gear 4th. Snake Man. As Luffy finished transforming into his new form, he threw a punch into thin air quickly. What is he? Robin's eyes did not understand his action as his arm was very fast and almost invisible to the eye, however. Gomu no. Jet Culverin. Without understanding how, Robin's demonio form was struck down by a punch of Luffy. She did not even understand when and how it punched her, as it was too fast. As the form disappeared in flower petals, Robin, weakened by the blow, took a knee and looked at the arm that just struck her down. It changes direction in midair. Luffy then took on his normal form again and approached her. That's right. And it also accelerates even while changing directions, pretty cool, right? Even if you know about it, this rhythm and timing will throw off anyone. This is my loss, Luffy. She, you weren't half bad. Now, it's not over yet, Luffy. What the, woo-ah? Luffy with stars in his eyes could see Frankie, or rather a gigantic robot version of Frankie. You might have beaten us all, but this Frankie Shogun will be able to deal some damage. Inside Frankie Shogun were Frankie, Usopp, and Chopper, who had slipped out after being beaten by Luffy to join his peers. Inside the robot, Frankie held the main controller while Usopp seemed to hold controllers and remotes for the firepower. Chopper, having reverted to his hybrid form, seemed to have just joined for the fun of it. I only gave you first aid, so if the robot is destroyed, there is no way we can fight back, remember? Yeah, I'm not going to try another round with this monster. I just want to stuff and attack whatever the means. Let's super do this. Looking outside was Luffy with stars in his eyes. But having understood their intentions, he then smiled and relaxed his body. Yosh, for your determination I'll show you a super strong attack. After inhaling and exhaling once, Luffy took a more serious gaze and the aura around him changed completely. Black lightning were generated all over, giving the seemingly innocent boy a very powerful presence. Let's go. Luffy coated his arm in armament Haki, but black lightning were emitted around his fist, then jumped towards the robot. They could tell that the next strike would be devastating. Gomu no. Pistol. Luffy then extended his arm and punched the robot. Without even making contact, the robot did not even crack as he was destroyed in a single hit, both from the outside and the inside, as he was sent flying. The arms and legs were tore apart from what was left of the body, and even the limbs were in a disastrous state. The damage was such that the hidden shockwave hit the three persons inside, who received a part of the damage and were knocked out. Luffy then jumped on top of the robot and gently slapped Frankie, Chopper and Usopp to wake them up. Oi, wake up. That's strange, I made sure to hold back so you would still be barely conscious. Then, as if the magic words were spoken, the three reacted instantly. How is that holding back, you bastard? How am I supposed to treat the injuries if you beat the shit out of us like this, you bastard? My suuper Frankie Shogun. Do you know how long it will take to repair? As the three voiced their complaints, Luffy laughed. Ha. I guess you've still got energy to spare. Then it's all fine, let's go eat a bite. No, it's not. As Luffy and the trainees made their way back, Zoro and the others were commenting on what just happened. So this is the level that he reached, huh? He is really becoming more and more of a monster, said Sanji while contemplating the strength of his captain. I can do the thing he does with the Conqueror's Haki, but only thanks to Enma, and I am nowhere near his level. What insane attack power. Hey, so this is what it takes to be an Emperor of the Sea, said Zoro while smirking. Yamato, can you do the thing he did? You mean the infusion of Conqueror's Haki? I can do it. Yes, but nowhere near the level of Luffy. He has just learned how to use it, and yet his mastery already is in the same league as my father. He really is incredible. I did not know that Conqueror's Haki could be used in such a way. Nothing too amazing for the future king of pirates, ha. As they finished commenting, Luffy and the others made their way back as they were all pretty much beat up. Yash Sanji, I'm hungry. You bastard, you hurt Nami-san, Robin-chan and Carrot-chan, and the first thing you think about is food? But I did hold back, TCH. I will put vegetables in your sandwich, so eat it all, you bastard. Blah. The others were too tired to comment, but all thought the same thing. So he agreed on the holding back part. Everyone, I'll treat all your injuries, so stay in place while Sanji brings the food. As Chopper was treating the injuries of everyone, Yamato and Jinbei came towards Luffy. Luffy, you were incredible, indeed, an impressive display of skills. You also turned this into something very educational for them. She, it was fun too, they really became strong. Luffy, as they turned towards the voice, they could see a running Carrot jumping on Luffy. You were mega super strong. You were almost untouchable earlier, like a superhero. You were amazing too, Carrot. You became way stronger since our last fight, she. Thanks, Garuchu. Ouch, Carrot. There is plenty to eat, so you don't need to chew my ear. As Luffy tried to get the mink off him, Yamato joined and jumped on him too, making the three of them fall on the ground. Ace was truly right about you. You became the hero of the Wano country. You should be more proud of yourself. Ha. For someone who does not want to be a hero, you sure saved a lot of countries and people, Luffy. Hey, what's wrong with becoming a hero? Well, heroes have to be nice and share all their meat, right? I want all the meat to myself, answered the captain, having given up on throwing the two women away from him. You said that back then at the Fishman Island, but I still don't understand your logic. But well, it's not like I wanted to become a hero or anything, but seeing Tama, Momo and all the people in one country starved and robbed of their life, freedom and joy just because some people decided it, I could not stand it. So I truly wanted to fight for them and free them by kicking Kaido's butt. And seeing how the country turned out, I am truly happy, she. Yamato and Carrot looked at the smiling captain, inspired. This man was driven by his ideals and empathy towards people. He said that he did not want to become a hero, but for most people he might have been the greatest hero ever. Carrot then reminisced Pedro's words. Luffy and the others might be the ones we in the Kazuki clan have been waiting for the past several hundred years. The ones that will bring a new dawn on this world. Luffy, I decided, I want to become someone Pedro will be proud of. I want to become a boss like you. Oh, I'll wait for you then. As Carrot began her chewing again, Luffy looked towards Yamato, who seemed to be thinking. What's wrong, Yamato? Huh? Oh, no, I was just thinking about what you said. I am truly thankful to you because not only you freed the people of Wano, but my life was also given back thanks to you. You were also a great help out there. Now eat. Sanji's cooking is delicious, and also. He took a rice ball and handed it over to her. The secret to eating delicious food is to eat it with everyone, partying or just having fun like this. Try it, it's delicious. As Yamato took the rice ball, some images from the past flashed back through her mind. I'm hungry. As she took a bit of the rice, tears began to fall down as she gulped down on the entire thing. Yeah, you're right, this is delicious, isn't it? We've high, I'll take some for you. Luffy then stretched his arm towards where the group was and took some food while disturbing the others who were still eating and recuperating. Hey damn it Luffy, that was my food. Oi Luffy, don't stretch your arm like that, you spilled the sauce all over me. Luffy, if you steal my mic and I will beat your ass. As the captain disturbed the whole crew with his antics, they all came towards him because he disturbed them or just because of the agitation. Jinbei watched the scene and closed his eyes, reminiscing about some events. I'm no pirate king, I'm weak. As he opened his eyes, the light of the sun highlighted the scene in front of him of a captain and his whole crew arguing and laughing. I'm really glad Luffy, you became really strong. Hey come Jinbei. I picked some food for you too. Yeah, I'm coming. Hey Luffy, bastard, this was my meat I was reserving for after Chopper treated me. She. Sorry guys, now let's all eat together. Now the training is over, right? I can't wait to take a bath after all that. Hey, but it's not over yet. What? I just stopped to let you get first aids and because I wanted a snack, but the real training is just coming? What? I wanted to eat more, but Sanji is being a stingy, so we might as well get on with it. What? Luffy then took a breath, then closed his eyes. It was subtle, but a distinctive sound seemed to resonate. His heartbeat seemed to beat louder to form a song. The drums of liberation. Then, I feel it, it's getting fun. The warrior of liberation appeared before them. A surge of Haki even stronger than before sent a blast of wind akin to a tornado that almost blew up everyone near him. Even the trainees who began to relax due to being treated put themselves on their guard again. Even Zoro, Sanji, Jinbei and Yamato watched in awe at the sheer display of power and began taking their weapons instinctively before. What the hell is this? This is it. This is the form he took on when he beat my father. A Luffy with white hair and white clothes was in front of them. But the aura he was giving off was very disconcerting. While he looked like an idiot cartoon character who was laughing all the time, he seemed even more formidable than before. Even more so than Zoro, and the others were smiling but slightly shaking. Let's have fun guys. Gomu Gomu no. Fusen. All of a sudden, Luffy inhaled a lot of air and grew absurdly in size, or more specifically his stomach grew absurdly in size. Then he twisted his body and yelled. Gomu Gomu no. Tornado. Luffy then blew all the air he had in his stomach, but the force added to the centrifugal force from the twisting was so absurd that a tornado was created, and made his way towards the trainees. Now guys, let's begin this survival game. You just need to survive for as long as you can while I chase you. This is just you bullying us, ha, I'm coming. Stop, you freaking idiot, and just like that, the trainees run towards the forest while a laughing idiot pursued them. Haki Training Part 6. Gear 5 and End of Collective Training. After Luffy in his Gear 5 form began pursuing the others in the forest, they got scared and separated themselves to have a chance to shake off the monster. As it was supposed to be part of training, after cooling themselves off, they figured they might as well try to slow him down or attack him, whatever the means. So Nami and Usopp tried to hide and plant some traps before being found by Chopper and Carrot, who nicely guided Luffy towards them, who turned their traps into mincemeats. And this is how the Straw Hats were in this situation. They did not have a say in Luffy's survival game, and now Nami, Chopper, Usopp and Carrot were captured and tied up with a vine made from Usopp's plants. What the hell is this? He bent the forest as if it was rubber. Even the vines look like extensive ropes now. Can he make everything around him rubber? But this is so absurd. He does absurd things like a cartoon character. As the four were both amazed and taken aback by the powers of Luffy, he seemed to think of something, then had an idea as indicated by the light bulb that appeared magically next to his head. I think I'll launch you back to the start area. Wait Luffy, please let us. Luffy then took the end of the vine and began rotating it in the air to gain some momentum, with the 4 persons in it. Then when he had enough, he threw them in the air towards the camp area where Zoro and the others were. Off you go guys. The 4 persons in it were crying as they were handled like furniture, or 3 persons were crying and bawling their eyes out and Carrot was laughing as if she were in an attraction. Traveling super fast, the quadruor reached the campsite, and were about to crash. Zoro and the others did not understand what was falling. What the? Nami-san, Carrot-chan, Gia, we're going to die. Wait, it seems Luffy prepared something for us. Despite falling down at high speed, Usopp managed to notice something. It seems that at their landing point was a collection of giant leaves that were unnaturally shaped as they stretched all around so that they became bigger. Nami then opened her eyes and looked at the ground herself. I see, the giant leaves must be like the trees and vines he deformed and act like rubber, so it will serve as a cushion. Way to go, Luffy. As the quadruor reached the ground, their impact was softened by the leaves, but their momentum made them jump back like a trampoline and they were in the sky once again, before crashing down on the hard ground this time. Zoro, Sanji, Jinbei and Yamato could not understand what happened in front of them. What was the point of that cushion? I'm gonna kill that rubber bastard. I'm gonna shut that laughing mouth of his. That was fun, again. As 3 of them were fuming and the other one still laughing, Luffy continued his rampage. In another part of the forest, Giahahaha, I'm going to catch you. What the hell is this super freak? Yo-ho-ho-ho, Luffy-san, have mercy. Frankie and Brook were running, both half amused and half afraid because of the calamity chasing them. Luffy found Brook and Frankie and decided this time to run through the air by cycling his legs very fast in the air. As he caught onto them, he gripped the floor and pulled it like a carpet. This resulted in the floor in front of him getting all distorted and Brook and Frankie lost balance because of that. Luffy then caught them by their feet and held the 2 of them upside down. However, as they were both way taller than him, their head bounced on the floor on and on again in a very comical way. Okay Luffy, we give up. You're super invincible like this? Yo-ho-ho-ho, Luffy-san, if I wore a skirt you could see my panties. She, this was fun guys, now off you go. Luffy then spun them around and threw them like he did with the previous quadruor. What? Yohohohoh, both were shouting as they traveled through the air, and then they landed on the leaves that acted like a trampoline, to only get them back up the air and land on the hard ground again. Zoro and the others watched again and gave up on understanding. Must be him goofing around again. Nami, Usopp and Carrot, who were being treated by Chopper, watched them with a giving up face. Yeah, just went through that, sorry for you guys. What the hell with the super absurdity, and after I let him see my panties. After a few minutes of complaining because of the useless and absurd way of being considerate of their captain, they could hear the tune-like person's voice. Hey guys. As they heard the unnerving voice of their captain in the air, they looked up and saw Luffy, who must have jumped all the way to the base and was preparing for landing. However, he was not alone as he held on to someone in his arms in a bridal carry way. Hey Luffy, why the hell are you holding on to Robin-chan like a princess? I never managed to do that. I already did, yo-ho-ho-ho-ho, it's because of you that I could not, you shitty skeleton. As Luffy landed, Robin got up and seemed unharmed. Why the hell does she get the gentle landing? Asked Usopp, still upset about his own injuries. Because she just asked? After I caught her, she asked if she could hold on to me while we made our way back? Had I known you could do that, I would not have hesitated, sighed Nami while Chopper put some band-aids on her. Don't be like that, my trampoline was pretty fun, right? Like hell it was, you dumb captain. As Luffy received a hit, the others gave up, too tired to reply back, and let the navigator and the captain to their antics while they were being treated and looked for something to eat. All in all, it was pretty fun to do this, right? We should do it again. Luffy, who was devouring through the feast made by Sanji, made a casual comment to his bandaged friends. Everyone was outside enjoying the sun while Sanji prepared a feast, picnic style, with various sandwiches, meat, treats, tea and various other dishes according to the preferences of the crew. Do we look like alright to you? Replied Usopp while walking with a cane because of his injuries. Come on, don't be such a wimp. Feel happy that we're not doing a second round, casually replied Zoro while chugging on his drink. Moreover, I wonder how Luffy and you are so energetic despite having just woken up from a 7-day sleep. Beats me. Probably guts or willpower. Yeah, my bad, I should not have asked a moron like you. While Zoro was running after a miraculously fast, despite injuries, Usopp with swords in hands, Jinbei stood up to attract the attention of the Straw Hats. So we have finished evaluating your performances and specialties. Now we will announce the results and the person we feel you should be working with. Why does this like a school test evaluation? Remarked Nami, a little dumbfounded by the situation. So after we discussed it amongst ourselves, these are your evaluations and appropriated teacher. First Usopp. Yes sir, answered the sniper standing up as if he was called in class. Your long-range ability is already top tier as you have the accuracy to shoot several targets over hundreds of meters. You still have trouble against close-range fighters, especially those that have very high physical specs, even if you make it up partially with your tactics and teamwork. However, you have already awakened your observation Haki. Learn to develop it and you'll manage to deal with opponents much stronger. Oh Usopp, you can already use Haki? said Chopper with stars in his eyes. Why I can really use Haki. Why is the person in question more surprised about this? Said Nami, even if she was impressed with her partner in crime. Usopp then recalled some of his experiences like in Dressrosa or in the earlier training with Sanji. So that aura stuff that I saw earlier was indeed Haki, huh? That is one way. As such, you'll train with Sanji, who is a master of observation Haki, with a great range to boast at all. He is also a quick fighter, so he is the perfect teacher and training partner for you. Here is your evaluation in written form. Do not hesitate if you have some questions. Jinbei smiled as he handed down a paper to Usopp. So this is really like a test evaluation, remarked Usopp dumbfounded as he walked towards Jinbei to take his paper. Well, I'm in your care now, Sanji. Hey Jinbei, this is not what we agreed on. We said I would teach Nami-san, Robin-chan, Carrot-chan and Yamato-chan. But this would be very inefficient, especially since you would need to teach several people and, began Jinbei a little awkwardly, not knowing what to say. And Yamato is not even on the trainees list, remarked Chopper. I told you we should do without him. He will only make Usopp weaker. What was that, Mosshead? Just you wait, I'm going to make Usopp so strong that he will make you eat dirt. How could he become stronger than me if I can beat his teacher with one hand? After the two began fighting, Jinbei, who was beginning to get used to this, cleared his throat and went on. Next, Chopper. You show wonderful abilities over your devil fruit, more so than any zone I have ever met. This may be due to the peculiarities of your devil fruit, but there is no doubt that your genius intellect is the reason for this breakthrough. You're not making me happy, you bastard, said a happily dancing reindeer. So who will be my next instructor? Right. Now, the next challenge would be to use this in conjunction with Haki, be it armament or observation. I believe many instructors could fit with you, but I have put you under the care of Yamato. Her fighting style and mastery over the three forms of Haki as well as her mythical zone could prove useful to you. Nice to be working with you, Chopper, said a smiling Yamato. Happy to be with you, Yamato, answered an equally enthusiastic Chopper. Next will be Carrot. Your physical abilities and fighting sense are already top-notch. For a mink, you have an unusual way to fight, but you managed to develop that to suit your strong points. Your foundations are solid thanks to Pedro's training, but you might lack the experience and insight to make the right decisions during a fight. This should be your next objective as you train your fighting skills and your Haki, as it should help give you more options and insight during a fight. Roger, I will do my best as the future head of the Minks. As such, I think that training with Yamato, who fights in a similar way than you, would be good. I think her advice and opinion could resonate with you on how to develop your Haki. Also, this might be later on, but maybe you could try to observe Luffy, as he has the highest creativity and adaptability amongst all the fighters I've known thus far. Nice to be working with you, Carrot, said Yamato as she bowed to her student. Yeah, we're training buddies, Carrot, said Chopper as he ran towards Carrot. Yeah, I'm in your care, Yamato. Come over when you want, Carrot, said Luffy. Yeah, I will, Garuchu, answered the mink as she jumped on the captain to bit his earlobe. So next will be Brook. Honestly, you have by far the most fighting experience out there. Your fighting skills are very refined, adapted to your style, and you even use your devil fruit's powers very skillfully with abilities adapted to your fighting style. You also make the right decisions during a battle and even adapt to your teammates and opponents. I have no doubt that you could awaken and develop your Haki, whoever your master is. Yo-ho-ho-ho, you praise me too much, Jinbei-san. As such, I have appointed Zoro as your master. Being both swordsmen is an obvious reason, but as I said, I don't think your fighting skills need any teaching. Therefore, I think that training with a swordsman and Haki user like Zoro could be beneficial to you both, as your sword styles are different. You might even get some tips on how to break through your limits even further. Nice to be working with you, Zoro-san, said the skeleton as he approached a smiling Zoro. Oh Brook, I won't be going easy on you, so prepare yourself. You only got Brook because he was the only one who could get something even with a blockhead like you. Huh? So next is, Jinbei said as he now skillfully ignored the fight between the two. Frankie. You're also one of the strongest fighters here. Your great physical strength and durability are already top-notch, and you also have a great range of attacks and strategy thanks to your body modifications. Adding Haki to your skills will be very beneficial and straightforward, be it for the increase of physical strength or durability or the use of your long-ranged attacks. Super. So who am I going to work with? I propose that you train under me. Learning Haki is one thing, but people have different use for it. They can for instance use armament Haki in a more offensive-oriented way or defensive-oriented way. I think that will be very important for you, and I believe I have the experience to supervise you. Moreover, your fighting skills could improve as there are some similarities between your boxing and the basics of fishman karate. Glad to be working with you then, boss. Next is Nami. You have very destructive and peculiar abilities. Combined with your intellect and tactical skills, you manage to deliver powerful attacks on your opponents. Like Usopp, you might have trouble fighting close-ranged opponents, especially those that have very high physical specs, but the fact that you can use Zeus will be very beneficial in that aspect. Adding observation Haki and armament Haki to help predict the movements of your enemies and enhance your close-ranged attacks options will be good. Nice Jinbei. So who am I going to work with? Said Nami, happy about the compliments. With me. Let's get along, Nami. She, answered the captain, happy to announce the news. Huh? Really? Yes, your teacher will be Luffy. Your fighting style is unlike anything I've seen before, but in contrast to Frankie, I have probably no tips that could go well with your fighting style. But Luffy's creativity might help you overcome your current limits. Moreover, you could learn to deal with closed-ranged opponents. I also think that despite your cleverness, you also rely a lot on your intuition, so you could learn Haki more easily with someone like Luffy. That is in fact his opinion on you, as he insisted to teach you. So you view me like that? Said Nami as she glanced over Luffy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could learn Haki if I help you. Let's try it then, said Nami as she high-fived her captain. I also told Jinbei I might be able to unlock your Conqueror's Haki. Hey, me of all people? Yeah, when you beat me up for nothing. You look like a demon? Or my grandpa? Seriously, last time you beat me up just because I gave some money to the wolves to chew. You did what? With my money? Oh right, you did not know yet? You idiot. Gyaaah. Was Luffy right? Is the Conqueror's Haki? Baffled, surprised, and a bit scared Jinbei. Don't get near an angry Nami, boss, signaled Chopper, hidden behind a barrel. Her level of dangerosity is already Yonko level, added Usopp, hidden with Chopper. Then I guess we can leave the two of them together. As Nami proceeded to beat up her captain, an aura resembling flames covered her. Jinbei tried to ignore the pure act of violence by going on with his review. So last is, Robin. You are the biggest surprise and threat during these trainings. The way you use your devil fruit powers, your versatility, skills in stealth, teamwork, clutch techniques and powerful attacks surprised everyone here. You even managed to master a fishman karate technique. Honestly, while nobody could teach you how to use your powers, you could develop your skills from anyone here. Moreover, you showed an understanding and even a bit of Haki during your Fig, so you might not be far from the awakening. Using armament Haki to increase your physical strikes and observation Haki to predict your opponent's moves will be very beneficial for you. You are incredible, Robin-chan. Woo-ah, Robin? You are awesome? Thanks, Sanji, Chopper, said Robin by smiling at them. So I can train with anyone? That's right. I think you could learn something from any of the persons here. Do you have any preferences? Then I will work with Luffy, answered a smiling Robin. Interesting. Why did you make that choice? Luffy is the only paramecia other than me here, and I feel like I could learn a few things from how he uses his devil fruit in conjunction with Haki. And, she said while smiling and glancing towards Nami and Luffy. This seems like it will be the most interesting group. I see, this is a logical explanation and I think you will make the best of it, said Jinbei before talking to everyone again. Now that everyone has a trainer, we will begin the individual trainings tomorrow. Of course, you can adapt your training in the best way you see fit and don't hesitate to go see other trainers for advice. My room will always be open. Now we can just eat to recover and prepare for tomorrow. Yeah, as the laughters and party went on, Nami decided to step out a bit to check the weather. The air in Wano was a bit chilly at night, but it was refreshing more than it was displeasing. Being an island with strong wave activities and a moderate sun, the weather was actually quite pleasant for an island of the New World. Having verified that the ship would be alright, she put her arms on the handrail as support and leaned forward slightly. Some of her hair got into her eyes, but instead of moving them, she let the breeze blow gently on her face and hair as she appreciated the moment of quietness. That's right. Better resource now before training with that idiot. To be honest, she was surprised that Luffy picked her personally to train. Not that she minded, but their fighting styles are very different. And she could not picture him teaching things in a way she could understand. As her thoughts trailed, she glanced towards the kitchen where the party was still lively but could not find the man who was more often than not the center of the party. Thar's strange. I wonder where he, booh. As she was lost in thoughts, Luffy had sneaked in behind her and surprised her by elevating his voice. The startle made Nami jump as she lost her balance slightly. She did not seem like she would fall, but Luffy held her arm just in case. Did I startle you? This is rare that I can sneak up on you that easily. Yeah, thanks for catching me. I was lost in. Wait, don't scare me like that, you idiot. After a well-deserved punch, both the captain and the navigator calmed down. Were you looking for me or something? Asked the navigator ironically as she was the one about to look for him. Yeah, you disappeared for a while so I looked for you. You should come back, there are still tons of food. Thanks, I'm going to go back later. I was checking the weather but it was pleasant so I wanted to take a rest here. You can go back first, I'll join you later. Luffy then looked at her relaxed face, looking towards the stars that appreciated the breeze and slight smell of the beach. Can I stay with you then? I have tons of meat in my pocket so he can eat that as we relax. Nami was slightly surprised that he would ask her that as he always liked to party, but as she was happy with his suggestion she answered him with a sweet smile. Be my guest. As the two decided to stay a little longer, they went down on the deck and both sat on the grass while looking at the stars. As Luffy was pulling out meats from his pockets, Nami sat but frowned slightly as she put her butt on the grass. What's wrong? Are you hurt somewhere? Yeah, I still have some bruises from the trainings earlier. Actually, this one is your fault because of your completely useless trampoline, Nami answered with a slight look of accusation. Oh yeah, she. Sorry about that. Here, a piece of meat to apologize, said Luffy as he handed over a piece of meat with a slightly nervous smile and guilty eyes. You would never offer me a piece of meat usually. Well, you seem like you mean it, so I guess you can be forgiven. Great, let's relax then. As she ate the piece of meat, she then asked to start the conversation. So what were you up to these last few days after you woke up? You went exploring with Tama or Yamato, right? Oh yeah, that was fun. We saw a lot of things. First we went into town because I wanted to taste the food in Wano. I thought that it was delicious during the festival, but they have a lot of dishes I did not know about. I told Sanji about it so we can eat it again. Yes, I also visited some shops with Robin, and the people here truly know how to cook, said Nami as she remembered her own trips. Especially that dango thing. It is so good. They even have one with Mike and flavor. You really do love Mike and Nami. She. The only thing I love as much as money after all, said Nami by puffing her chest, a little pride at this fact. Oh, and we also visited the nearby areas like the forest or the mountains. There are a lot of unexplored areas, and there also was some treasure hidden in the ruins. Treasure? Where did you find it? Why didn't you tell me? Groaned Nami as she shook him by his collar. Well, Robin was with us at this moment because we were exploring some ruins. I wanted to tell you, but she said that this might be the remnants of a samurai clan. So we went and told Momo and Kinemon, who thanked us and said that they would give what was left to the descendants. Well, I guess I could not take it, but I spotted some areas that you might have not seen. Oh, tell me more. There was this part in the north of the island where it's all snowy. There were a lot of abandoned villages. It was kinda creepy, so Tama held onto me for the whole trip. Oh, and Chopper was there too this time. Rubbing against his fur really helps to stay warm in cold areas. It sure does. I still remember Drum Island or Punk Hazard. Underestimate the cold and you'll regret it, she said while shivering and rubbing her arms, remembering that the air was kinda chilly. Oh, it is not related to the story, but do you know why the body is shivering? Asked suddenly the captain, interrupting his own tale. The shivers? We mostly shiver when we are cold or sick, right? Yeah, but what is the use for the body? Oh, I think it might be because the body spends energy to shiver, so it warms the body a bit, answered the navigator as she drew the conclusion from her knowledge. Was I not right? Yeah, you were. I thought I could surprise you with this when Chopper explained it to me, said Luffy as he pouted a little. You're 100 years too early before you can give me lessons about temperature or the effects of meteorology. Nami smirked, looking at him, mocking the pouting captain. But try again, I'll be up for the challenge. So what about your story? Oh right, remembered Luffy as they finished their digression. So we made our way on a cliff just above the village. At first nothing seemed out of sort, but I could feel a warm air on my cheek. Where do you think it was coming from? Warm air on a snowy mountain? Where did it come from? Asked Nami as she was fully immersed in the story. Well, it came from behind a giant boulder. It looked like it was put there on purpose and that there was an entrance behind it. So I moved the rock and behind was a natural hot spring. Oh, a natural hot spring in the snowy mountains? That's awesome, but that means? Yeah, Chopper and Robin said that a volcano was not that far away. Now it is extinct, but it must not have been a few centuries ago. So Robin theorized that the people from that time feared that the volcano might leak from this cave and seal its likely. From what I've gathered, Wano is home to many mountains and volcanoes, so it must be close to the frontier between tectonic plates. But that's actually awesome. You'll have to show it to me before we depart. What else did you see? Asked Nami, now very interested in the adventures of her captain. And the two continued talking about silly things that happened to them recently. Between Luffy's shenanigans in Wano with Tama, Carrot, Usopp, Chopper or Yamato, or his discovery of hidden areas. The discussion was eventful. Nami also shared with him the areas she discovered while mapping Wano, and it interested Luffy even more as he wanted to discover these areas before leaving. And what were you up to these last few days, anyway? Me? Well, after you woke up I figured I could relax a bit, so after mapping the general geography of the island, I stocked on some things we might need further on. But I also loved the bath, so I went and took a dip there with Robin, Carrot and Tama. I even asked Frankie if we could have something like that on the Sunny. Oh, this could be nice. It felt good to take a bath after having woken up, even if I was not that dirty because Momo's sister cleaned me up. What's wrong, Nami? To be honest, I also participated in cleaning you up. Oh thanks, but why did you do it? No reason, I just did not have many things to do before you woke up. But Hiyori did most of the work, I just helped her a bit for you. So you better be grateful and stay clean. Better than say that I was actually embarrassed to clean him in some areas. Not that he would mind given how shameless he is about these things. She, Roger. As the discussion still went on, Nami looked at Luffy and asked a question she meant to when she was looking for him. Hey Luffy. Why did you want me to train with you? Did you notice something interesting during the training? What do you mean? Well, it's not like our fighting style are similar and I think our training methods are rather different. So I thought that maybe you saw something during the training that made you want to train me. And don't tell me it's because of that Conqueror's Haki crap, said Nami with a slight frown towards her captain. Ah, you mean that? Began Luffy as he closed his eyes thinking about how to phrase his answer. I just felt like we have a sort of connection or link. So it would be easier for you to understand how to feel Haki, but also because it just felt right, I guess. Nami was a little flustered by the implication made Luffy, but she managed to remain calm about it. And no way that idiot meant it like that. You mean like something that you don't share with others, even with the rest of the crew? Yeah, something like that. We may be different, but we are pretty compatible, I think. But I believe that you finding out yourself would be the best rather than me explaining it to you. All I can say is that I think that we make a pretty good team. But don't think I'm going to go easy on you and Robin. I'm going to drill what Rayleigh taught me during these 2 years, Luffy said with a cheeky smile. Oh, bring it on then, answered Nami, unusually fired up about the whole thing. The night went on as the two continued to discuss about Haki, training or other silly things. While the party went on, this moment that belonged to them felt like an eternity that passed in an instant. Oh, look at the time. We should go back. I'm getting a little chilly, said Nami as she finally noticed how long they had been there. Oh right. I'm out of meat, so I'm going to sneak in and take more. As they made their way back into the kitchen, they saw the whole crew who were either washing the dishes, tidy things up, or reading a book in the case of Robin. Hey, is the party over? Oh Luffy, Nami, where were you? Asked Usopp as he was playing cards with Chopper, having finished his part to clean. Oh, I was checking the weather outside and Luffy helped me with a few things, said Nami, half lying. I could have said that we just talked, but it would be a little embarrassing. Nami Swan, would you like some tea or a drink before going to bed? Thank you Sanji-kun, but I'm just going to turn in after helping you tidy things up. Oi Luffy, I was waiting for you. Can you help me carry these boxes? Said Zoro as he was doing heavy labor. Yeah, coming. As he joined Zoro, Nami decided to put the extra chairs around the table back in place and sat down as she met the eyes of a smiling Robin. Did you enjoy your evening? Nami looked at her, knowing that playing dumb would be of no use in front of the perceptive archaeologist. Yes, it was pretty pleasant, answered the navigator, a little embarrassed to have been found. I see. I can't wait for tomorrow, said Robin while smiling. Haki Training Part 7. Individual Lesson from Luffy. Oh, you two are here already? Come and eat breakfast and we'll get to it after? Good morning Luffy. You're up early. Yup, could not sleep much, so I woke up Sanji so he would make food for me. Nami Swan, Robin Schwan, I prepared coffee and breakfast so you would have strength when training with that idiot. Thank you as always, Sanji. After Robin and Nami sat next to Luffy as he was the only one up alongside Sanji, who was still preparing food, they slowly ate their food and drank their coffee to wake up. They were still a little tired and sore from yesterday, but nothing that would impede their movements. Soon after, the others came in and took their breakfast, so the kitchen quickly became much more lively. So where are we going to train? On the boat, or yesterday's location? Asked Usopp as he was chewing some croissant. I think yesterday's location will be fine. This location allows us to see the boat so we can all get off and still survey the ship, said Jinbei after remembering the area's location, confirming it was perfect. After reaching the open area they were in yesterday, they scattered into the groups designed yesterday. They did not scatter that far as they could still all see each other, but they were far enough so that each teacher could talk and have an open space to spar if needed. As Luffy, Nami and Robin settled, the captain faced the two girls. Let's begin. Do you already have something in mind? Asked Nami, curious about the kind of training Luffy prepared. I would like to know where you stand first. I could copy what Rayleigh did with me, but I am not sure what would work for you exactly. So I'm going to do a demonstration and then we'll see. That's actually very level-headed, remarked Robin, a bit impressed about her captain who does not show that level of preparation every day. So first, said Luffy as he closed his eyes, come and attack me both of you. Oh, and don't use your powers, Robin. Just come straight at me. As the two girls looked at each other, Luffy drew a circle on the ground with his feet that had a radius of about 1 meter. After taking a breath, they jumped on Luffy even if they knew how it would end, having experienced his observation Haki already. Nami, armed with her Kleem, attacked and Robin palmed first. Both tried to hit him several times. As expected, Luffy dodged all their attacks even if his eyes were closed. What was even more impressive was that he did it with minimal movements. Indeed, the whole time he stayed within the 1 meter radius circle he drew, dodging by a hair's breadth all the attacks. No matter how many times I see it, this is incredible. This is just like Eneru from the Sky Islands, said Nami in disbelief as Luffy dodged all the attacks. After a few minutes, Luffy opened his eyes and held his hand in a gesture to stop. That's enough. Now try to hit me with all your strength. I won't evade this time. Do it without the weapon, Nami. And don't worry, I am rubber and rather sturdy, so it won't hurt. Shi. Nami went first and gave a punch with all her strength in Luffy's stomach, As expected, because he was rubber and because she did not have superhuman strength, her punch barely had any effect. Robin went next. She took a fishman karate stance similar to Jinbei and unleashed a palm strike towards Luffy's stomach. This time Luffy flinched a little, having not expected this kind of attack that hurt him from the inside but was still mostly unscratched from the attack. "Oh nice Robin. I definitely felt that one," as Robin merely answered with a smile. Luffy went out of his circle and talked to the two girls. "As you know, the way I evaded attacks was observation haki. It allows you to sense the presence of other people. When developed enough, you can sense a lot of things like the attacks of your enemy in battle. Was the thing you did to evade our attacks your ability to see into the future?" "No, this was just basic observation haki. Seeing into the future is based on the same intense sensing, but it is on a whole other level," said Luffy while he pondered on the things that had become second nature to him. "But if you develop your observation haki enough, you may be able to do this too." Next, Luffy coated his arm in armament haki. This is armament haki. It acts as an armor protecting you from attacks but also as an offensive weapon, greatly increasing your attack power. "If you had attacked me with that, I would have definitely felt it. I felt your punch, Robin, but this was more because of the fishman karate strike rather than haki. This is the thing that allows to hit devil fruit user, right? Was the thing where you don't make contact when punching also armament haki?" "Yeah, that's right, but it's like an advanced version. I'm like emitting my aura and project it towards a target. Remember that thing that the Axknikai did on Sabawendi? This is what he did." "Now that you remind me," said Nami while pondering from her souvenirs. "He did things like palm strikes but never touched his target directly." "That's right, and another advanced version is letting the aura flow within the enemy. This allows to deal damage from the inside." "I see, this is a bit different from fishman karate where we use the water around us or in the user's body to deal additional damage." So that's why it feels different," said Luffy, not sure that he understood the principle but still instinctively knew that the process was a bit different. "And so, do you feel like there is a type of haki that would be easier for you to learn? You need to learn both, but beginning with your specialty will be better." Nami and Robin were both thinking. They both understood that these two little exercises were meant for them to get a feel of both types and see if one of them resonated with them more than the other. "Hey Luffy, I have a question. Is observation haki limited to living beings? Can it be used to sense anything else?" It is mostly limited to living things, but there might be some way to develop it to other things like future sensing." "Why do you ask?" "Then I'll focus on observation haki. I have no definitive proof, but my ability to sense weather has always been like second nature to me, but I wonder if there is a link." "Oh nice, let's do this then, and you Robin?" "I have a small idea, but what would you suggest for me, Luffy?" I think you could go both ways. Before I would have said observation haki because your stealth skills make you hard to notice even with observation haki when you are hiding or fleeing from someone. So maybe you have the hang of it already. But yesterday you managed to use armament haki against Zoro and me. It seems you can't do it at will yet, but I think that you are close either way. Then I'll train with Nami and you to use observation haki. Then I'll try to use armament haki later if that is fine for you." "That sounds good, let's do it." After deciding on the training, Luffy pulled something from his pockets. "I prepared some blindfolds to cover your eyes." "Hey, these designs are surprisingly cute," said Nami, mocking the usual fashion style of the Straw Hat Captain. The two blindfolds looked more like headbands. One was a mix of orange and white which formed flowers. The other was more uniform as it was mostly black but with blue leaves imprint. Really? These are some of the clothes the people on Amazon Lily gave me before I left." They do have good taste. Mind lending some to me if you are not using them?" "Yeah sure, go ahead, but you're not going to sell them, are you?" "How rude, why would you think that? Your eyes in form of berry are worrying me." "Fine, I only planned to see for how much you could sell a few of them, but I will wear them all." As Luffy gave the orange headband to Nami and the black one to Robin, Luffy then picked up a large wood stick on the ground. "Wait, what are you planning to do with that, Luffy?" "I will reproduce one of the train-in. You will both cover your eyes and try to evade the hits I give with the stick." "I knew it. You know what would happen to us if you hit us with your monstrous strength?" "Hey come on, I will hold back. I did bit the dust a few times with Rayleigh though." "I would also like a more peaceful option if you would like, Luffy," said Robin calmly but in a way that showed no room for negotiation. "Alright, but what do I take instead? There is a flexible ruler I use for my maps in my room, on the table. Could you go and get it? That would be faster than running for it." "Alright, you got it. Gomu Gomu no rocket." As Luffy flew towards the ship, Nami and Robin sat on the floor. Robin then asked a question. "You do trust him a lot to let him go through your bedroom and stuff without you there?" "Well, it's Luffy, it's not like he's going to do anything. I could be afraid that he would make a mess, but it should be fine. Furthermore, he seems to have put a lot of thoughts in today's training." "Yeah, I was also surprised at first. But this big idiot can be pretty considerate when he wants to," said Nami, thinking about the past. "Can't let him down now, can we?" she said with a smile. "I see. I thought you were curious at why he specifically chose you to be its trainee." "Well, there is that too. I tried asking him yesterday but all he said was that we make a pretty good team and I should figure out the rest myself, answered Nami, kind of conflicted about this answer. Robin let out a small chuckle. Luffy can be a tease when he wants. Shut it, said Nami, looking away to hide the small blush and embarrassed face she had. Oi, Nami, is this it? Oh, looks like he's back. Luffy was in the air as he had probably rocketed his way here as well. His landing left some dust and dirt, but he was far enough from the girls so that they were not bothered by it. He has in his hands a ruler that was about 50 centimeters long. Yes, that's the one. You did not make a mess of my room, did you? No, she, don't worry. You had some maps on the desk, so I did not want to make a mess out of them. I know how important they're to you. Thank you, I appreciate it. Now let's begin. Put the headbands on and sit on the ground cross-legged. As the two women followed the instructions, Luffy stood behind the two of them. I'm going to coat the ruler in armament Haki to make it hard, alright? But I won't strengthen it too much so that it does not hurt that much. But you need to feel the Haki in the stick. It will let you grasp the feeling better. So we just try to evade the hits you give us? Yes, I'll attack the two of you in turn. So let's try to evade 10 consecutive hits first. The first to go was Nami. Luffy stood behind her, letting her the time to breath and concentrate, then gave the start signal. Here I come. As Luffy gave his first hit, Nami could feel a slight movement in the air, before sensing the feel of a rubber ruler on her cheek. You managed to sense the hit, but your evasion ability still needs improvement, Nami. What? Let's try again. I'll evade it this time. Being a little absorbed in the training and feeling a little competitive, Nami was a little frustrated that her turn ended so fast. Alright, here I go. Luffy gave another hit which Nami could feel thanks to the air shifting. She managed to barely avoid the first hit, which had the same trajectory as the first one, before sensing a rubber ruler on the top of her head. Sorry Nami, I got you. Nami then sighed and took out her headband. Damn it, this is hard. And you want us to evade 10 hits like that? Yes, that's right. But I'm sure you can do it. It's not like you were evading randomly. Now, it's Robin's turn. Ready when you are, answered the archaeologist, concentrated. As Luffy began his hits, Robin sensed the atmosphere around her change. As she could somewhat know that the danger was coming from her left side, she ducked by bending her upper body. She then followed with bending towards the right to avoid an upward hit. By evading like that, she could evade 5 hits before being hit. Oh, good job, you managed to evade 5 hits. That's awesome, Robin, said an agreeably surprised Nami. Even if it was not her success, she felt a little proud to see how awesome her fellow crewmate was. Thank you, but I still have a long way to go, said Robin, as humble as ever. So what did you guys feel or think when you were trying to evade the hits? As Luffy asked his question, Nami and Robin pondered a bit before answering. I was trying to feel your hits to evade them. I managed to feel the breeze to determine more or less the direction from which you were attacking. Also, the fact that you made us sit meant that our range of movements would be restricted. Therefore, to make this fair, your own range of attacks would be limited as well. So, evading would not be that impossible from there, but still, even by knowing this, I could not predict the timing and exact direction, explained Nami. Also, you attack more or less with the same tempo. You could alternate to make the movements harder to predict. I suppose you will do that later. But now that we know that, we have to choose from a limited range of options, it makes the focus on the hit easier. Like Nami, I was trying to feel the breeze from your hit but also the direction of the thread, added Robin. Oh nice. You both saw the purpose of the training. Really did the same with me. That's right, this might be contradictory, but this is to make the training easier. There is not one right answer as to how to feel Haki. But I feel like you both are on the right track, especially Robin. But while feeling the things around you can be observation Haki, you should focus on the threat, as Robin said, or the intent for my attacks. The intent from your attacks? Yeah, it's like feeling the will or the purpose behind every attack. That should help you with developing and using observation Haki in battle. Sorry, I understand what you were saying, but I guess it would be easier for you to experience it rather than me explaining it. Let's go at it again. After that, Nami and Robin both went in turns. Nami managed to evade at most 3 hits while Robin could not go more than 6. After both going several series, they were a little tired, so they took a break. I can't believe this is the first step. You did all this with Rayleigh, panted Nami. Yes, that's right. But I managed to get the first steps more easily, so Rayleigh went a lot stronger. And I had to evade 100 hits or I could not have any dinner. After that we would also do it standing while Rayleigh changed the tempo of his attacks. But I could also try to attack him. And what else did you do? Asked Robin, genuinely interested. I did a lot of things daily. I also did the rock thing Yamato did, but blindfolded. I also had to fight and survive against Beast blindfolded. To train my armament Haki, I went into sparring sessions with Rayleigh. He also made me punch giant boulders numerous times, or I had to endure his attacks without moving. Ugh, that seems like hell. Yeah, but after that I quickly got the hang of it and I became friends with the animals on the island, so it was pretty nice. I think you would like my island, Nami. The weather changes 48 times a year there. 48 times? I thought nothing could surprise me on the Grand Line, but this seems like very interesting. We have to go there someday," said Nami, very interested as a navigator and climate scientist. "I would also like to go to Amazon Lily someday. Being a secluded island, I hear they have quite a history on their own." "Yeah, I'll take you there someday. I'm sure Hancock and the others would be thrilled." Arching an eyebrow at how closed Luffy seemed to be with the women of Amazon Lily, Nami gave him a puzzled look. "I always meant to ask you, but how did you even make friends with the people in Amazon Lily? Much less their empress. I thought that meant W." "Yeah, it's a bit of a long story, but they kind of purchased me at first. We had a bit of a fight, but then it resolved, and they are all very nice people. Thanks to Hancock, I even managed to get to impel down in Marineford to try to rescue Ace. I am truly grateful." "I see, then it would be wrong not to thank them when we see each other again. We'll definitely have to go." "I am also grateful to them. It feels like you became the hero of another island, Luffy," said a smiling Robin. "No, really, I was the one that was saved by them. To be honest, I don't know how far I could have gone by myself. When they were chasing me with their arrow-enhanced Haki, I was trying to find a way back to Sabawendi. But then I thought that without Nami I would be screwed on the sea either way. So it's really nice that I became friends with them and that they helped me." Nami and Robin made a slightly surprised face at the mention of the navigator's name. It's not like you would be able to go anywhere without me, so I can't blame you for thinking that," said Nami with a smug face. "It's very sweet that you thought of Nami at that time." "Wait, Robin, it's not like," as Robin liked to tease the usually collected navigator, Luffy picking up none of that went on truthfully. "Yeah, but I did not think of her just because I was looking for a boat. When the Kuja pirates chased me I was thinking that they may be scarier than Nami, but..." Luffy then closed his eyes and reminisced very scary memories. Maybe they were not after all. "I would not be like that if you would not be such a blockhead every time," Nami groaned, ready to punch his stupid face. "Gia, I sense anger." As the navigator was chasing the captain who was running for his life, he suddenly had an idea and came to a stop, which caused Nami to crash into him. What the heck, Luffy? I have an idea for your next exercise. You too might be able to do it." The two women looked at him as he took Nami's bandana on the ground and put it as a blindfold. "Both of you attack me, but alternatively, just don't tell me who is hitting each time. Oh, and Nami, don't use your clean attack for this one." As Nami shrugged, she looked at Robin and decided to go first. She quietly went near him and tried to deliver a punch, which he evaded. "That's Nami, right? How did you know from this one attack?" "I can tell. Now go on, and Robin, you can switch in anytime you want." As Nami continued to deliver some punches or kicks that Luffy all evaded, Robin came in, sneakily waited for Nami to stop before trying to get a kick in. That's Robin, right? Impressive. Are you able to tell which one is us just from our presence?" "Yeah, there is that, but while your presences are distinct, even your attacks have a different feel or flavor to them." "What do you mean?" asked Nami, genuinely interested. "It's hard to describe. It's like trying to describe a sensation or a smell or something you eat." "That's fair. I would not know how to describe these kinds of things. But yeah, each person has a different feel to them, and so are their attacks. Both of you attack me at the same time while I'm still blindfolded." As Nami and Robin understood the assignment, they did as they asked and began unleashing combos at him. As he evaded all of them effortlessly, he said at the time, "That's Robin's attack. Now Nami. Nami again. Robin. Robin." Nami attacked my head and Robin my legs. As the two Straw Hats were impressed, Robin looked at Nami and whispered something in her ear to try and surprise Luffy. As the two resumed their attack, Luffy sensed something different and did a sidestep to evade a vertical attack. "Oh, Robin, you took Nami's weapon, didn't you? You can even tell that?" "Yeah, even with weapons you can't hide your presence, and weapons that have been used for a long time also have your presence imbued in it." After a few more rounds, the two women, exhausted, fell to the ground and Luffy took off his blindfold, indicating that they could rest for a bit. "Alright, that was super impressive. I understood the principle behind it, but that you can tell who attacks you every single time without looking is insane. You sure this is just Haki and not your future sensing or something?" Nami asked as she drank some water to cool down. "Yeah, I mean I could have used it to evade your attacks, but normal observation Haki can do this. What I am sensing is your presence, but also the intent of your attacks. Each of your attacks have an objective, a thought or feeling that you put behind it. That's how I see it, but it might not be the same for everyone else," pondered Luffy as he put his hand under his chin, doing some rare thinking. Be it with observation or armament, people naturally have some preferences and are better at some aspects than others. I can understand that, but to be honest, I can't really see the differences between it. To me it seems like you only use Haki to locate people, evade attacks and attack on your own. Yeah, that's what we use is the most for in a fight. But for instance, armament Haki can be used more like an armor or more like an offensive weapon. That's up to the preferences of the user. Some people are more skilled when using it with a weapon or directly with their body. Some may be better when using it with parts of their body or some on their whole body. And for observation Haki, while the main use will be to locate people and predict attacks, some people may have a larger range of coverage. Some might be more precise or advanced in the intent or bloodlust of attacks and people, or some can be better at sensing people's emotions. I get it. That's more or less what Jinbei explained to us, but somehow it makes more sense now that we are trying to master it. Yeah, that must be it, but I got bored and probably did not listen. And by point of curiosity, in which area are you specialized in, Luffy? Asked Robin. Me? I think I have it all covered, as Rayleigh wanted me to master all aspects of the 3 Haki. But if I really had to choose, for armament Haki, I had an easier time using it for offense with my arms at first, and it seems that for observation Haki I had a knack for sensing people's emotions. Oh, did not expect that from a knucklehead like you, mocked Nami with a cocky smile. Hey, I'll let you know that I am more understanding than a demon like you. What? I am the definition of kindness, it's your fault for not seeing it. So Luffy, can you tell what both of us are feeling right now? Interrupted Robin. It's not that easy. I have a general feeling depending on the person, but strong emotions are easier to notice. He then started looking at both of them a bit more intensely, which made Nami a bit uncomfortable. I'm not sure how you are exactly feeling right now, but Robin seems like, a bit curious. Well, that must be right, but I think that's something we can see pretty easily. No, I mean, it's like she has this calm sensation but with a fire within because she wants to know more about something. She's always like this when we discover ancient ruins. Shishishi. The comment made Robin smile. Her captain was absolutely right about her. It's not like she was hiding her feelings, but after a life of hiding and killing her own emotions, showing them on the surface could have been hard. But perhaps being with people who understood and accepted her whole led her to being more open about her feelings. Thank you, Luffy, this means a lot to me. And what about Nami? Nami is very happy right now. And also determined, I would say. Just like a calm and beautiful wave that tries his best to make a big splash. The adjectives used surprised a bit, but she quickly gave a soft smile. It's like you to compare me like a wave. Oh, and right now you are. A bit embarrassed, I think. What? I am certainly not. Yes, you are. It's like a peaceful and beautiful wave but that gets a bit agitated. How come you are so embarrassed? Nam, curiosity having been piqued elsewhere. I am not, mumbled Nami. Now let's get on with the training. As Nami got up and distanced herself as she stretched dynamically, Luffy was a little unsure about what the navigator did. Did I say something that I should not have? He asked the archaeologist. Robin answered with a crystal laugh. On the contrary, I think you got it perfectly. At the puzzled look from her captain, she added before joining her friend. That's just how women's hearts work. So Luffy, I understand the principle behind observation Haki and intent. But is there a principle or trick to activate armament Haki? That one is more straightforward, but it might be more difficult for you right now. For observation Haki, you can try to sense things, but for armament it all comes down to the definition of Haki. It's just about being able to sense your own willpower and be able to manifest it. Hey Robin, I don't mind idle chat, but it kind of pissed me off to see him conversing with us while dodging. Indeed, they were in sparring session, and while the two women launched attack after attack, Luffy was dodging them, and at some point he began conversing with them. As with armament Haki, if you have sufficient latent abilities, it is possible to awaken it in the heat of extreme conditions, which would most likely be a fight. But unlike observation Haki, it is still needed to train to be able to manifest it at will. I think you are more or less at this stage, Robin. While he was dodging, he tried to think, so he caught Nami's clean attack and one of Robin's arms to signal a timeout. But Robin already used it twice, so what were the conditions? As he came up with an idea, he released his grip over Nami and Robin and coated his arms in armament Haki. Maybe we should reproduce the conditions a little bit. So I'm going to parry your attacks and counterattack with Haki, is that alright? Exposure to Haki in extreme conditions is the best way to awaken your latent Haki. Oh, don't worry, I will hold back enough. I don't know about the holding back part, but I'm game. What about you, Robin? We're in your care, Luffy, answered the archaeologist with a smile. As the two women continued their attacks, Luffy effectively continued to evade the attacks but also parried them with his arms and attacked from time to time. The two women managed to parry or evade the attacks just barely, as the captain held back enough, as he said. This is unreal. I was growing used to the fact that he evaded all of our attacks, but even when he attacks, it is always in a direction that puts me on edge. I think he is still going easy on us. If he wanted to, he could corner and hit us even with this level of strength and speed. Robin was right. While Luffy was definitely putting them at difficulty, he had control over the sparring to hold back enough and put them on difficulty with his attacks so that they could parry and evade even if just barely. Yeah, you're right. You're both doing great. If you can see that, I will step things up a bit. As he said, Luffy did step things up a bit. His attacks were a bit more fast and heavy, and the two women were now getting hit. Like he said, even with armament Haki he held back a lot, so the hit did not hurt that much. But what was the most troublesome was that his attack pattern put them under even more stress. Damn it, I'm getting hit but I can't even hit him back. When I try to hit, he makes me lose my balance by kicking my legs. Same here, panted and usually tired Robin. When I tried to punch him, he hit my shoulder so I can't raise my arms. What's wrong? You're giving up, cockily said Luffy while watching his two crewmates panting hard. Like hell we are. Here we go. As Luffy continued to evade their assault while counter-attacking at the worst timing possible for them, he looked at Robin a bit more intensely, as if he was waiting for something. Just a little more, as Luffy went a bit faster and stronger on his attacks, Nami and Robin decided to take a step back. Robin, Luffy probably wants to push us to the edge for some reason. We need to find a strategy to attack him at least once or it will be useless. I agree with you, but do you have a plan? I have, but it does not look like that he is willing to let me explain it, so just try to avoid damage as much as possible and attack when I give you the signal. As Robin agreed, both of them went back to the attack except that Robin, as instructed, only tried to parry Luffy's attacks. But as his attacks were mostly counters or attacks to make them lose their balance or rhythm, she did not receive a lot of them. On the contrary, Nami was hit almost twice as much. Luffy looked at the two but quickly continued to parry and attack. They must have a plan, that's perfect. As he continued, he could see Nami did her best to fight through the slight pain and was looking for something, or an opportunity. As Luffy was about to kick her left knee to make her fall, Nami did an unexpected thing. As Luffy began his kick, Nami, who was in the motion of doing a vertical attack with her clean attack, stopped her movement. I was waiting for it, but somehow I just knew he was going to kick with this leg. Grow up. As Nami applied more pressure on her clean attack, it grew until it hit Luffy in the leg. Now Zeus. Pull his leg and make him fall, yes Nami. As the clean attack made contact, it changed form and wrapped up around Luffy's leg like a spring and pulled him. Wooa. Now Robin. As Luffy lost his balance, he quickly tried to get up to see Robin charging at him. Zeus was still rolled against his leg, so it was troublesome to move. He could likely parry, but Nami was probably waiting for Robin to make him lose his balance once more. That's it Nami, Robin, you two really are awesome. As Robin charged, both she and Nami felt a shiver run down their spine. Luffy was using his conqueror's Haki to intimidate them. It was not his full power as they witnessed it the day before, but seeing it up close was very intimidating. Is he trying to slow down our reaction process? But if I slow down here, Nami's efforts will be. Luffy looked at Robin, who pushed herself to go on. Just one final push and she'll be able to. Luffy increased his conqueror's Haki output even more and was close if not at full power. Nami understood what Luffy was trying to do. She felt a shiver run down her spine and forced herself not to take a step back to support Robin. In a very uncharacteristic manner, Robin shouted from her lungs to give her the courage she needs. I won't let Nami's efforts be in vain. I'll clear this and become stronger for everyone. As she launched her palm strike to Luffy's torso, she sensed that she made contact. Alright, she was satisfied with her hit, until she saw that she did make contact, but Luffy did not flinch and even caught Robin's arm after the clash. How? That's not possible. How are you still standing up when? Nami looked at Luffy's leg and it was sunk into the ground. Did you do it to prevent me from pulling your leg? Yeah, that's right she. Good plan by the way. I almost got hit. Ah, you're crazy, said Nami as she fell down, smiling a bit frustrated but content that she lost after giving it everything she had. Luffy then looked at Robin. You're amazing Luffy. I'm just a bit disappointed that we did not make you flinch even once. She. But you were both amazing, and did you look at your arm Robin? As Nami and Robin looked at Robin's arm they could saw that it was coated in black. Is it armament Haki? Yes you did it Robin. But again, I don't even know how. When you hit me, what did you think? I just thought that I wanted to become stronger for you and Nami and everyone else, but I did not really think and lost myself a bit in the adrenaline, answered a smiling Robin. That's it. That's your trigger. My trigger? Yeah really, explained Taunt. Haki was just a manifestation of willpower in physical form. Some people just get the hang of it and some don't. But at first, it can help to know how to channel your willpower by having certain thoughts or directing certain feelings towards specific directions. Even for me at first I could only use it like 50% of the time, and when I understood the trick behind it, it became a lot easier. And I somehow felt like you and I had the same trigger. Become stronger to protect and support your friends? Asked Robin as she more or less remembered her thoughts. Yeah that's it, now that you know that you should train with these thoughts in mind and it like soon become like second nature to you. As Luffy released Robin's arm, which had turned normal again, Nami jumped on her. That's awesome Robin, you truly are incredible. Yosh, let's take a little break. As Luffy, Nami and Robin ate to take a break, Nami was deep in thoughts. I bet it all on that during that assault, but as I thought. Say Luffy, what's wrong Nami? Answered the captain with his mouth full. When I hit your leg back then, I somehow knew that's what you were going to do, but I'm not sure it was a lucky guess or. Yeah, it was observation Haki. It really was then? Yeah you might have been waiting for that, but the fact that you sensed when it was launched was definitely observation Haki. Yeah, that's awesome. I know that I still have to train to master it, but it's something huge, right? No, you can be happy. Using it under such circumstances even briefly is something huge. I am happy for you, Shishishi. I know you are, answered Nami smiling softly. Huh? I knew he was? Well, it's not hard to guess, but somehow? I knew you were happy. Is it because of this emotion sensing you explained? Hearing these words, Luffy's eyes widened before turning into his usual smile. You're really amazing, Nami. I did not think you would understand this that quickly. Robin, who had observed their conversation without saying anything, was interested in the small pause Luffy gave. So are there some things you could not tell her before she understood that? Nami recalled their conversation from last night, and how Luffy seemed to dodge the question after telling they had some bonds. Not that I would tell Robin that. Yeah, that's right. I'll explain it to you right now. As Luffy got up and finished his food, he looked at both of them before speaking. Robin, the way you just used armaments Haki, I did not tell you about the trigger before, right? That's right. That's because if I had told you in advance but you did not have sufficient strength or mastery over your Haki, it would not manifest, and trying to force it by the trigger would lead to bad habits. But in this case you had used it twice already, so I had an inkling that you could do it, but until I was sure I did not want you to use that as a reference. It makes sense, whispered Robin more to herself, interested in the subject. So you didn't want me to guess I was on the brink of using observation Haki, or that I already used it at times to prevent me from developing bad habits, said Nami, understanding the direction where he wants to go. Yes, that's right. To be honest, I don't know if you have fully awakened your Haki or if you have just developed some aspects of it without realizing. But I had a thought that like me you had an affinity for sensing emotions. Is there a reason for what you're saying? Well, maybe it's just with me, but somehow I feel like I can hear your voice very easily. My voice? Yeah, your presence or your feelings. I feel like we are somehow always connected. Nami thought to herself of all the things that happened, and she felt in order to organize her thoughts, but somehow she could understand what he said. I think I kind of get it. Sometimes I can tell what you're feeling, but it must be because you're a moron, right? It only happens with you. This was not only understanding and comprehension between close people. Somehow, her heart just knew what Luffy felt, and she shared that feeling as well. But she thought that was because of the close bond she shared with him, and not because of her feelings. Not at all. So are you saying that you are only able to sense Luffy's emotions? Asked an amused Robin. Should have known she would jump at the occasion to tease me. You know, I heard your voice when I was fighting Kaido. Luffy took an unexpected calm and soft voice. He then looked at her and smiled. He was really strong, and at one moment I was truly defeated. I was on the verge of death and my heart stopped beating. Luffy was unexpectedly serious, so the two women listened carefully. Hearing the state he was in was enough for Nami to want to cry, thinking about what could have happened to him, but she held it in. And at that moment I wanted to move, but I had no strength. But then I heard your voice. You stood up for me in front of Kaido, didn't you? I just could not accept this snake's words. There is no way you could lose to him, baffled Nami, a little embarrassed. And then I heard you said that I had to keep my word, and thought that I should really get up before you kick my ass. Hey, be a little grateful, you knucklehead, said a cocky Nami by pinching his head. That made really happy. Thank you. It gave me the strength I needed to get back to the fight and win. Nami was trying to put on an act to hide her embarrassment, but she did not care anymore. Even after everything was over, the relief she had after seeing Luffy beat Kaido was still present. She approached him and gave him a gentle hug. Thank you for keeping your promise and saving everyone again, and thank you for returning alive. Luffy just smiled at his navigator as he returned the hug. Robin, who teased Nami all day, was actually genuinely happy for both of them as she watched the two of them without interrupting. Hey Luffy. I think I understood what you meant. I still can't use observation Haki, but somehow I have glimpses of your feelings sometimes. So this is definitely related to emotion sensing, right? Yeah, I think this can be the first step to awaken and master your observation Haki. I'll do my best to help you. How about we return to the blindfolded evasion exercise right now? I feel like I will be able to do it this time. You don't mind me doing this alone, Robin? No, of course, go ahead. I still need a short break. I'll watch you from here. As Luffy and Nami got up and went a bit farther in the open space, Nami talked first. I know that you said I should sit down first to really practice my Haki, but I feel like I will be able to get it faster if we replicate a fight. Is that okay with you? It's totally fine if you want to do it like that. As Nami smiled at the positive answer, she took her bandana and blindfolded herself. Ready when you are. Alright, I'm going. As Luffy launched his signal, he began attacking with his ruler, but Nami failed to avoid the hit. Ugh, this is really harder than when I am sitting, again. Nice, that's the spirit. Luffy was not moving that much. He did not want to overload her with unnecessary information. So he just switched positions from time to time by going around her so that she could evade every hit just by doing one step at most. After a few tries, Nami began evading a few hits, but not consecutively. 2, 3, and you've been hit. Damn it, what's wrong, Nami? Want me to give you some tips? No, thanks, I think I'm getting the hang of it. Indeed, while her movements were crude and needed work, Luffy could discern that each of her movements had a precise intent as she tried to feel and predict where the next attack would come from. Predicting is nice, but your movements stiffen too much when you are unable to feel my attack or that your prediction is off. Nami agreed and tried to correct that. As the training went on, Luffy gave more and more advice to Nami, not necessarily how she moves and evades in general. 4. That's it, Nami, you're getting the hang of it. After many tries, she became able to evade 4 attacks consecutively. It's not exactly like earlier, but when I'm with Luffy somehow I can feel his presence at the last moment. But I can only evade by the skin of my teeth because I am too late predicting the exact kind of attack. After she got hit for what seemed like the 1,000th time, she began to grow impatient. Damn it, I know I am beginning to get it, but every time I lose focus after the 3rd or 4th hit. You need to have a calm mind in order to use observation Haki. No matter how stressful the situation, if you are able to remain calm and see things objectively, your ability to sense will become even stronger. Yeah, I know, but it's easier said than done. Let's try again. After more tries and more times getting hit, Nami's concentration was waning as she became unable to dodge more than 2 hits. 2. Your concentration is waning, damn it, I'm starting to get worse. Nami yelled in frustration. Not being able to see added to her stress, but she understood that it was part of the training. And getting angry was actually doing more harm than good, but she wanted to let it out. Then suddenly, she felt something covering her head. It was a very familiar sensation and smell. The trademark straw hat of Luffy has been put on her head. She could feel that his hand was still on her head. Her frustration subsided immediately. She now felt a warm feeling inside her. It's somewhat frustrating that just doing calms me down, mumbled Nami. She, you're doing great, Nami, don't worry. You just need to calm down and take it one step at a time. Your Haki will not develop overnight, but you're making great progress. And even without it, you're already amazing enough. So just believe in yourself. I know you can do it. Yeah, thank you, Luffy. After taking a deep breath, she was ready to go at it again. But before Luffy could take out his hand from her head, she asked, "Can I keep your hat during the training?" She knew that the captain would not mind, but knowing how important it was to him, she felt a little selfish to ask. But even when blindfolded, she could feel his bright smile. Yeah, go ahead. After going at it again, Nami managed to stay focused this time and hit her 4-hit floor before being hit. 4. You're doing better, your movements have more fluidity. It's fine, I need to stay calm. I managed to sense his presence, so I can definitely evade hit next time. For the next combo, she managed to evade the first 4 attacks and stayed very focused for the next strike. He's coming the side. After jumping back, she managed to evade the 5th hit. 5. Yes, I did it, don't release your focus. As he said that, the ruler hit her in the stomach as she could not react in time. You managed to evade 5 hits this time, congratulations. But don't release your focus after that. You put yourself in a position where it would be very hard to dodge. Somehow you can tell where I am going to strike, but not the kind of attack. That's also why you have trouble evading my attacks perfectly. Nami agreed with the last part and made a mental note before going at it again. Let's try to evade 10 hits. Yes. After that, Nami steadily evaded more and more hits, increasing her limit progressively to 6 hits, then 7 hits, 8 hits, and finally hitting the 9 hits limit. She struggled for a while there as if she was not improving anymore. Nami panted as she was beginning to get tired. But that was not the reason for her struggle. You upped the difficulty a lot for the last hit, didn't you? Yeah, it's a way to give you a little challenge. TCH, cocky, are we? I'll show you how awesome I am. For the next attack, she managed to evade with more ease the first hits. 5, 6, 7. You're doing great. For the 8th strike, he usually went a little faster on his blow. With Nami's reflexes and physical abilities, if she did not have perfect timing there, she would be struck. An horizontal hit to the stomach. After sensing and predicting that, she took a step back to evade the hit. Don't jump too far or you won't be able to evade the next hit. Luffy's ruler was centimeters away from making contact with Nami's stomach as she stepped back, but this time she was already in position with good balance to evade the next hit. The 9th hit was more troublesome. The speed was the same as the previous one, but Luffy must have predicted her first intention because the hit always goes in the direction in which she dodges to. I was only able to evade it once. If I can't react in time, I must fool him with perfect timing. As expected, she sensed a vertical hit, so she took a side step, but somehow the attack seemed to have changed direction and went to the side where Nami dodged. However, Nami, expecting this, rapidly rolled her body to the ground to escape the hit which grazed her hair. Alright, just one more, the most troublesome one. She only faced this hit once, but it was actually the trickiest one. Nami was not able to sense Luffy's presence at all and was hit without doing anything the last time. Just calm down, don't panic. Even if you can't sense him, he's still there. Where would he be going for the attack? How can I predict his next course of action? As her brain was overflowed with thoughts, she could not find an answer and began to panic a little. Damn it, at this rate I'll just be hit. As her heart rate began to increase, She put a hand on her head to help her think before touching the straw hat on her head. Oh right, I had it on me. As she touched the straw hat a little harder, she stopped thinking about how to evade the next hit. Her mind grew even calmer. This straw hat that accompanied the next pirate king. A hero with the brightest smile. Ah, is this? Nami sensed something and took a step forward to evade the hit that was coming from behind. The silence that was going on for a while was broken in an instant. That's the 10th hit. You're awesome, Nami. Nami removed her blindfold, not totally believing it herself. Hey, did I do it? Yeah, and I totally meant to hit you with the last hit, so it was awesome? Overflowing with joy, she went and high-fived him with a bright smile. I did it, but how did you manage to evade the last hit? I was completely hiding my presence. Ah, said Nami, grating her cheek. This might be dumb luck. I could not sense your attack or presence at all. But somehow I felt like you were wearing your usual goofy grin. At the mention of these words, Luffy remembered a time from his training with Rayleigh. 98, 99. Luffy then sensed a pause and stay focused as Rayleigh's presence had disappeared. But somehow he could tell. Luffy stepped to the side to dodge Rayleigh's last hit. 100. As Luffy managed to dodge the last hit, the training was completed. As he relaxed a little bit, Rayleigh asked. How did you dodge the last one? I was completely hiding my presence. I could not sense your presence, but somehow I felt like you were smiling, Rayleigh. After remembering that, Luffy smiled again. She, I see. Did I say something funny? Not telling. What? Don't be a jerk and tell me. Robin watched them from afar and smiled in her usual way. It seems like it was worth observing them. So how did you guys do? After the sun began to come down, the Straw Hats finished their training and were all in the Sunny's kitchen to take their dinner. It was mostly fine at the beginning and at the end. Surprisingly, Sanji is a good teacher. That is until he proceeded to beat me up for no reason at all. It was your fault for making an imitation of my love Haki. Because I can tell this is totally bullshit. Indeed, Usopp seemed to have bruises and huge bumps all over his head along with huge swollen lips. He seemed to have grown used to the pain because he did not complain as much as usual, but his F barely recognizable and very comical. As for me, it went fine. Zoro-san is a surprisingly good teacher too. That's thanks to your own skills. You were already advanced enough without me. Yo-ho-ho-ho, I wish I wasn't as advanced, if so you would not have cracked all my bones. Only in harsh conditions does Haki thrive. Brook was laughing, but he was exactly in the same state Usopp was, although his face could not. Well, you know the joke. Yamato's training was fun, and every time we got injured, Joe Bro healed us. I'm still very sorry. It is hard for me to hold back, especially because you are very strong, but thanks to you, Chopper, the two of you were okay. That does not make me happy, you bastard. The dancing Chopped and Carrot also had bandages, but their injuries were bruises and some pain at most. Jinbei is a super teacher. He taught me all kinds of punching and boxing techniques. Developing your fighting style alongside your Haki would be very beneficial. I also learned a lot while sparring with you. Frankie was mostly unscathed thanks to his body and Jinbei's ethical training. It also seems that the two of them grew a bit closer thanks to the training, as they are also close in age. Training with Luffy has been very instructive. He's a very good teacher, surprisingly, and he did not go overboard. That's right, I was scared of finishing like Brook or Usopp, but it seems we hit the jackpot. Nami said that at the others as a form of mockery, but she and the smiling Robin seemed to be doing mostly fine. They had a few bruises, but nothing a good patch up by Chopper could not fix. You better not have hurt Nami-san or Robin-chan, you shitty captain. No, I did not, but they were awesome today. You should have seen them. She. They made huge progress today. Now give me my meat. In a minute. While the usual noise was filling the kitchen, Jinbei spoke to everyone. It seems everyone made progress with their training. We will only stay a few more days in Wano, but do not neglect your training and continue it daily. Do not hesitate to ask us for help if you need. We will resume tomorrow. After everyone began eating, Usopp asked something to the navigator. Hey Nami, why are you wearing Luffy's hat? That's my reward for doing good during my training. You don't mind, right Luffy? Yes, you can keep it. I'll take it back if you do badly tomorrow though. Hey, then I think I will keep it and be the one called Straw Hat Nami. Hey no, that's my nickname. You already have one. That's right, I am the cat burglar. I steal what I want, and besides you said it was okay. It's too late to go back on your word now. As Luffy chased a laughing Nami to get his hat back, the others watched the scene that was not unusual but sparked a bit of interest in the others. Zoro was the one to ask Robin what everyone was wondering. Did something happen between the two of them? Robin laughed a little at the question. I guess they both found an unexpected treasure.